Thank you, Dr. Cos. Get the now to sub to Heedle, baby. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's go. Let's
They
go.
say hindsight is 2020, and 2020 is the year we get back to our roots.
Yeah. Yeah.
Reverting Freya back to a 2017 state and an all-new Joust map integrating the best features of classic Joust.
Yeah. And Bart
Smite
returning
Pro
to
League coming back
Esports.
to multiple platforms. Plus, the return of community
I just
streams
spoiled
to
that.
broadcast.
And Bart's coming back to Esports. Sorry, I apologize. I didn't mean to spoil.
But we need one big announcement just to tie this all together. One BA.
So you need a BA. Well, here's one BA. RT.
Bart.
We're in here. Oh, shit.
Let's
That's
go.
right, everybody. Bart, returning to the promised
Back
land
from
here
Google.
in Atlanta, Georgia. Your favorite Patch Notes host ever is not here today. I'm here, though, so you kind of do with what you got.
I like
Welcome
your
in to the
aggro.
Update
I
Show,
think you're
everybody.
swell.
And for more details on what Bart is going to be doing here with the Hi-Rez team, of course, we've got to bring in Alex,
I
brand
think you're
manager for
swell.
SMITE, and Avrin, of course,
Hi,
as well,
Alex.
part of the community team. But we'll get to Avrin in just a little bit. Alex,
Hi,
let's start
Avrin.
with you. Obviously, it's very exciting that Bart is coming back, a huge part of the community in the story of SMITE over its history. What is Bart's role going to be with the team?
Yeah, so as we said at the end of the video there, Bart's going to be leading the Hi-Rez Productions team. So everything that you formerly knew as Skillshot, so all live broadcasts, all
Bart's
esports,
basically been doing stuff
shows
like this
we're
for
trying to
YouTube
bring
for the
back,
last 4
something
years.
kind of similar
so
to Hi-Rez TV with more community-focused shows. So anything that comes out of our studios here, Bart's going to be in charge of. And I think we're all just really excited to have him back. He's been working on the other coast for the last few years, getting a lot of practice in this area. And so excited to see the learnings that he brings from his time at YouTube.
He's a smart guy.
Here with his
Smart
love
guy.
for SMITE and the Hi-Rez community, and see where he takes us.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a return back to the Hi-Rez of old. I mean, if you watched our Hi-Rez Presents video or anything like that, just the last show that we just did, I mean, Tom in a referee outfit saying preposterous things. A return to form is what we're going for season 7.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've seen more and more. Hi-Rez is what we are, and we're best when we're Hi-Rez and not trying to be something we're not,
Yeah.
So we're going
digging
to try
it.
and do more of the things that we know the community loves, get back to our roots, and have more silly shows.
I
like the one
think
you
this
just
is
saw.
the
By the way, my
last
was the
pass
best. Please vote for
before
me on
season
Struggle.
7, by the way.
Yeah, pandering to the audience.
At the
Never
end
done
of
poorly for anybody,
January,
Alex.
so.
Avrin, speaking of next year and all the great things we're going to be doing, a
I'm
lot of
pretty
changes
sure.
coming for esports in 2020. Let's go over some of them.
Yeah, I'm still so excited about the Bart thing. I used to write about him, and now I get to work for him. I'm a little
A little
flustered.
starstruck, you know.
Yeah, but so first of all, I want to thank the fans for an amazing HRX. You know, the energy in that building was astounding, and a huge congrats to SK on their win. That's the Cinderella story that we all wanted, and that was really amazing to watch. But it is time for 2020, and we are ready to dive right in. We've made all of our 2020 announcements for all esports, so we have announced the SMITE Pro League, which is gonna look pretty similar to Season 6. We're making a couple of format changes to make the season-long experience feel a little bit more satisfying. But most importantly, we are going back to Twitch.
That's right.
We're going to be 100% platform agnostic for all of our broadcasts, meaning we will be on Twitch, Mixer, Steam, and YouTube. So wherever you want to watch, you can watch there now. We're also moving back to weekends and afternoon
that's a
broadcasts,
good
so
change.
that the maximum amount of viewers will be able to get their eyes on the
SPL
Pro
will
League
be
games
Friday,
live as they're
Saturday,
happening.
Sunday instead of like
really
weekdays.
exciting stuff. But we're
That's
also
a good change for SMITE.
kind of revamping our amateur
change.
scene a little bit. We have sort of done away with the SMITE Minor League
Good
and
for
the SMITE
viewership.
Console League as we knew them, and we have announced the SMITE Challenger Circuit and the SMITE Open Circuit.
Yes.
So we are creating this complete sort of amateur ecosystem with 4 relegations per year. 4 lands per year with a good amount
Long
of
story
prizes attached
short,
to them.
SML, SCL are basically combined.
And then will be plenty of opportunities for people to come into open entry brackets and then have an opportunity to come compete on land, compete against challenger circuit
It's
teams,
all
and
it's
get
all
really
cross-platform
valuable studio experience that'll help
type
them
stuff.
kind of start their long-term careers.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
So-
And, of course, the SPL staying a lot like the same that we saw
And
last
SPL will
year.
have
Every
8
game's still
teams
being
instead of
played
10
on LAN.
teams.
And a couple new orgs
So-
joining us as well this year.
Yes. We have 2 new orgs coming in. We have Ghost Gaming and Rogue Esports. We're excited to have them back. Or we're excited to welcome them to the league.
Yeah.
And we're also excited to welcome back 6 of the orgs who were with us in Season 6. We will have E-United, Renegades, Space Station, Rival, the Pittsburgh Knights, and Obey Alliance coming back to spend another year on the battleground with us.
It's gonna be a sick year. There's no doubt in my mind. I
Yeah.
mean, already the roster turmoil is starting to happen.
Yeah.
We're starting to hear rumors behind the scenes, and I think you guys are gonna have an absolute blast.
Yeah, we
It's gonna be
lost
crazy.
Luminosity,
Of course, there are going to be some more
SK,
details coming out
Dignitas.
on the esports
Yes,
website.
yes. So
Luminosity,
we are going to
SK
do a live
Dignitas.
Reddit AMA. We're going to have some video content coming out, and obviously the
And
Bart
another
announcement
one
is
that I
huge,
forget.
and we have a couple of other big announcements
Splice.
too up our
To be
sleeve
fair,
yet
Splice we
come
didn't
out.
really lose. Splice
so
got like
keep an eye out
deleted.
for that.
So
Most
that's a
of that
little
will be
different.
coming out around
Yes.
after Thanksgiving, early December.
They got like
Okay,
disbanded.
first few weeks of December, make sure you're
So-
tuning into esports.smitegame.com. That's the place to go if you want to see all that information. Guys, thank you very much for joining us here on the Casual Set. We've got Finch and Pon Pon standing by to go over some balance stuff and some other news. In the Smite Realm.
Woohoo!
Thanks, Aggro.
Wow,
It turns
you are
out that
really
Bart's
quiet.
not the only host that you all are missing out on today. Hindu Man is not here either, so you have to make do with me and
There we
Aggro
go.
at
Turn
least
up his
for
mic.
today. I am
Good
joined
job,
here on the desk by
production.
Pon Pon, though. We're going to be going through some updates. Pon Pon right here next to me.
Yep.
Happy to have you here, man. Going through some updates. Part of Project Olympus, not really so much bug fixes, I would say, but more like features and such like that that are going to be coming in.
We do have bug
Yeah.
fixes, but they'll be on the patch notes
Right.
on the actual website. This is more about going over a pretty big feature that we actually have coming to the game.
Yeah, it's exactly right. We're going to be having that full mouse and keyboard support that's going to be added in now. Now, obviously, that's not
For
so much for
console.
PC, right? That's more on the console side of things. But there
Oh,
is going to be some shit's going to be
man.
happening on the PC side too. Pon,
I
I
wonder
guess
how
just kind of
console
big
players feel
picture,
about
break me
that.
down with it. This is huge, right? I mean, if you're on
Yes.
console now, being able to play on a whole new peripheral
I'm in the
really
way.
does open up a lot of
I'm in
doors.
the way.
Yeah, so when you get into game, you'll be able to actually choose what peripheral you want to play with. So if you're on PC client, you can choose controller. If you're on console, you can choose a keyboard and mouse. And the way it'll work is you'll actually go to a setting, you'll choose
God.
what you want. You'll have to do an input to show that you're
Okay.
on that one, and then it'll switch over everything so that you're playing on that specific input.
Ah, there we go.
And the
Okay.
big thing here is we're also going to matchmake you and actually do like matchmaking around what your input is,
Okay.
not necessarily
So
your
never
console.
mind, you're
so
fine.
now PC players who play on keyboard and mouse and console players who play on keyboard and mouse will match together. PC players who play with a controller and console players who play with a controller will play together.
Cool.
And so this just makes it so that everyone has
Never
the
mind.
ability to choose
False
what they
alarm,
want to play
console
with,
people, you're
choose
good.
what group of players they want to play with, and it's just a really exciting feature coming to Smite.
I mean, this is awesome.
You're
I know a
good.
lot of people that like to play on consoles because it is more accessible. A lot of
Yes.
the times your family might even already have one. A big PC might be hard to swing. But now the only pitch you got to make here is, a keyboard and mouse. And I can hop in there,
Yep.
maybe
So
play with
that's
some of the
good.
big boys too. So I think
That's
this
a cool
is a
change.
huge deal.
Yep, and the big thing to
Cool.
note here is this is
Doesn't
a really
affect
big
me, but
undertaking, and
cool.
so in PTS there's going to be people will play on PTS for PC. If they choose to play with a controller, we encourage that, mess around with the feature. But also, if they notice anything different with their inputs, if they notice that something's changed, something doesn't feel quite right, definitely let us know ASAP. The intent is if you're on PC and you're just using your keyboard and mouse, it should be the exact same experience. We do know there's one issue going to PTS, which is the scoreboard looks very different. That's not intended. We're going to be working to fix that. But anything else that you see, definitely make a point of it. And again, also, if you're on console, since we don't have a console PTS, if you are in live and you play on this that day, and there's any issues that pop up, we are willing to hotfix to actually identify those issues and get them resolved as quickly as we can.
Sounds like that's something we're trying to make sure that we're
Oh, no,
on
what
top
happened?
of.
Oh,
Pon. We
no,
always love to hear
Hi-Rez,
that.
your
So that's
stream.
exciting that
Oh, no,
crossplay
okay,
changes
they're back.
as well as the full mouse and keyboard support. Those do kind of tie in all together, I would sort of
Yes.
say. Yeah, I think that we've kind of hit the big notes. Anything else you want to make sure I didn't leave out on this one here?
There's definitely some specific notes for the matchmaking stuff, and I would definitely refer to the
Guys,
the
you're
patch notes
saying-
document
oh,
that'll have all the
God.
full
Right.
details. But for example,
One
like
sec, I'm gonna
you'll
refresh
be
the
able to use
page.
keyboard and mouse by
Holy, jeez Louise.
force you to use the gamepads. There's
Oh
caveats
my
like
God,
that
why are their
within the
Twitch
system.
always dying?
So
One
definitely,
sec,
if
I'm
you're
going to their
interested in
mixer,
this,
dude.
and you're interested in
Their
trying different
mixer
input types,
stream
definitely go
always
read the
does
patch note
better
show,
than
so you can
their-
get or patch notes doc and read all the details.
And just because I have a controller plugged in, I'm not automatically
Patch note show, so you can get or patch notes doc
Bam.
and read all the
Their
details.
mixer stream
And just because I have a
always
controller
dies.
plugged in, I'm not automatically
Always
using
for
gamepad. You got to
patch
go
notes.
enable it.
Yeah, there's a whole
Right.
thing where you enable it and then you have to A and then it changes
Right.
all stuff. Yeah.
And so that means that you can
Goodness
still have that
gracious.
option, but if you're using a gamepad for input,
I don't know why,
you're with
that
gamepad,
always
if you're using
happens on
keyboard
the
and
Twitch
mouse,
stream.
you're with keyboard and mouse. That's how we're going to be looking
Mm-hmm.
going forward. But that's not the only thing that's going to be changing here. Let's start to move into some balance, the
Yeah.
nitty-gritty, I suppose, here, Pon Pon. We're starting with
Post-Worlds.
item balance. Post-Worlds, as you said, we saw a lot of stuff happening
Balance.
at the SWC. SWC. Not a ton here, but I do think that we should talk about it. This is kind of our last update for Season 6, right?
There
And
you
I
go.
think
Last
in that
update.
context, there's not a whole lot that's going to be changing dramatically with items in particular as we're starting to get ready for Season 7.
Yeah, we're in full swing with Season 7, so we kind of know what's going to be coming up. So we wanted to really just focus on anything that we could do for the last patch of Season 6, focus on any quality of life changes we could make, anything that showed up in Worlds that was a pretty large change in like how players are playing.
Sure.
Make sure we address that so
No
that
big
going into Season
changes?
7 we had a good, basically baseline.
70
Yeah, and
more
there's a
days.
lot of good stuff that's going to be coming here in Season
Yes.
7, too, that we've already had a chance to talk, to kind
On
of
a
show
patch
at,
that we've
at
been
Hi-Rez
playing
Expo.
for
Hopefully,
basically for
you all
the
had a
last
chance to take a
70
look at that
days.
as well. Some stuff coming
been
up
like
with
5
the
months
Joust
without a
map that's going to be
significant
happening
meta
as well.
change.
That's going to be kind of a mix in between of the
Change
old Joust
something.
map and the new one that you all have gotten to know and love. So
Yeah.
that one's very exciting to me. I'm a big 3v3 main myself. There's a lot of good stuff coming up in Season 7.
Yeah, it's exciting. Definitely look at the keynote and anything that we sent out during SWC for more
Come
information
on,
that
give me
as well.
something.
And then we'll have more as
Give
we
me
get closer.
something.
Exactly right. A lot of stuff from that Season 7 to make sure that you all are on top of before those big changes start to come through. Now, one item change we do actually have here for you that we can go ahead and talk about. This is this change here to Jade Emperor's Crown. And this has become a pretty popular item, especially for a lot of our solo lanes. In
Yes.
particular, let's be honest, Jormungandr uses this item a lot, right?
Jormungandr with this item was just incredibly potent. We knew this item was strong, and we saw the pro players really pick up
Okay.
on it and start using it a lot. We figured this was an
That's
item
an
that, with what
interesting
we saw at Worlds, was
change.
worth a more immediate adjustment. And so you can see that we've reduced the power reduction aura from 30 to
Alright.
20. Just to hit the item, tone it down a little bit, bring it a bit more in the line in those situations. Still strong, but a little bit easier to manage against.
You're right. You're still going to have the protection that are on the item itself. It's this aura in particular that's reduced. We saw a lot of times physical jungler, physical solo laner with gank Yorm do very little damage. The Jade
Haven't
Emperor's was
seen,
just really, really
not
strong
gonna
in
lie.
that case. That's been touched
far
down
as
just a
rank
little
goes,
bit,
haven't
and that
seen
should
a
do it here
ton
for
of
us
Jade
with
Emperor's
items
Crown.
at the very least here.
Nothing
But
like
there is gonna
nerfing
still be
Guardian
a good amount
items.
of God balance that is
Not-
on the way.
Holy
and the
cow,
very
that was
first
the only
one
item
here
we
on
nerfed?
the list is Camazotz, and from what I'm seeing here,
Not
Bon,
the
looks like
Warriors?
Camazotz actually getting a good amount of love here this time.
Yeah, Camazotz has been kind of lower on the totem pole this whole
Please.
year. He was really he came in as like a counter to King Arthur,
Yes.
but outside of that, he hasn't really seen much use. And so we wanted to focus on what makes him unique, and that's his life stealing aspect, his healing,
Increases
self-sustain
passive
aspect.
buff from
So we've
6
done a
to
lot of buffs here
8%
to his self-sustain, like
physical
Essence
lifesteal.
Drinker getting increased passive buff from 6 to
Okay.
8% on his lifesteal and healing. He also has Vampire Bats, which will increase the vampirism buff from 3% to 4%. So he's just getting overall more healing.
Yeah.
And the other big change here
More
is the
healing for
Devour
Camazotz
range.
is
So his
pretty
Devour is a very
nice.
short leap, but now we're going to make him more like an assassin. That leap is going to be better to actually close the gap and chase targets. So beware of Camazotz. He'll be chasing you.
I think so
baby,
too, man.
that
This gives
is
Camazotz a lot more flexibility
that
in
is
how you
scary.
play, right? The lifesteal
Yeah.
will
Oh,
be there
that's
from
a
the
big
Devour.
buff.
Allows you, as you said, to close that gap too. So I
Oh,
know there's some
baby.
Camazotz mains out there that are excited. Hopefully, we'll see a little bit more
I
of
think
him.
Cam
Now,
is
we already talked a bit about
respectable right
Jormungandr,
now,
but he's the next
so-
one we're going to be changing. We mentioned him with the Jade Emperor's crown, but we're actually
Just
doing some changes to
imagine
him
him
too. It
being a
looks like
magical
specifically the
character right
passive-
now.
Passive immovable, increased damage taken from 10% to 15% when the debuff is active there for Jormungandr.
Yeah, so there's a lot of characters
Okay.
that kind of rely on their ability to push and pull targets or to knock back and knock up to really
Interesting.
control the lane dynamics.
15%, that's a
and Jormungandr just
significant
ignores
increase
it
to your
all.
damage.
That's the
Yes.
passive. That's the, he's
That's a
immovable.
pretty solid nerf.
But
pretty good.
we did add a component where when he gets hit by them, he's not just completely immune. He does take a little bit of bonus damage. And we felt the counterplay for basically immuning that knockup wasn't quite equal. It wasn't much of an equal trade. And so we're increasing that damage that he's going to take so that he's a bit more easy to fight, especially against characters that have multiple knockups or multiple things that are being immune by this effect.
That's right. We've already seen gods who have really good ganks up against Jormungandr are the ones who proc this passive. Now that same passive will be even stronger.
Yes.
So hopefully this wouldn't take Jormungandr out. Just bring him back in line a little bit more. I
Yeah,
would
give
say,
more
with this
counterplay
one.
options.
Yes, just make it a little bit easier when you're going up against him. But that's Jormungandr. Next up is Kukulkan.
Another snake.
And he has suddenly popped up here in the meta, hasn't he? I do think
Yes.
those whirlwind changes
Yeah.
did the goal, right? He is way more popular here now,
Okay.
but it does seem like he's getting played everywhere,
is
getting played
kinda
all the
getting
time.
nerfed.
So these changes make some sense to me. The whirlwind, it's a partial revert on whirlwind application time, as well as a partial revert on the whirlwind damage. What can you tell me about this, Pon?
Yeah, so he went from being a little bit underwhelming to the most winning god in the game,
Yes.
and clearly everyone was like, "Yeah, he's actually
But
really strong."
not
now.
at
He definitely
high level
feels much
ranked. I
stronger."
want that on the record.
There's a middle ground there, right? Like
Not
if he was
a high
underwhelming
level
with
ranked.
previous numbers, he was a little bit too strong with these numbers. We can find a middle ground there to make sure that he feels a bit more responsive on the tornado application, as well as the damage being a bit more fair.
Exactly right. That increased refresh
So
application
little
time from
nerfy
0.25
nerf.
seconds to 0.35. So a little bit more time to work with there. And then the damage is decreased per tick from 10 to 50 to 9 to 45. So these aren't huge, I wouldn't say. This is just meant to kind of nudge him back a little bit more, bring him back in.
He's still stronger than he was before the buff occurred.
Yes, for
God,
sure.
I would rather him be OP than those numbers.
That'll do it for Kukulkan.
Really?
Those
10
are
to
some of the
50,
big
we're doing
changes.
9 to
Not
45.
too huge ones, but certainly could have some implications coming
Just
up next.
bothers me more
Olorun
than anything.
has had his decrease, his base
That's a
power
gross
decreased
number
from
spread.
40 to 38. What's this here with Olorun getting a little bit of a nerf?
So we've seen just a lot of major DC changes in general, and Olorun is kind of the one most sensitive to that because he has his early game ability as well as his late game scaling with that ultimate kind of exacerbate those changes a little bit. And so throughout the season, we've watched him kind of evolve with these changes.
They are nerfing
and so
a
we've been
lot of
adjusting his base
magic
damage
damage
accordingly.
for all of my
Right now, his
games
early
being
game
8
is a little
physical
bit too good
characters.
for how good he gets in the late game.
Sure.
We're just bringing that down a little bit so he's a bit
So I
easier
don't
to
know
box
what
and he
that
can't get as far ahead as early as he can.
Pon, that's the theme I'm noticing. We're trying to make counterplay a little bit stronger.
Yeah,
with these
yeah.
guys.
so
Olorun in the
how
early
about
game
those
should be a
Woojer
little bit
nerfs?
weaker.
Yeah,
So
where's
I
my
like
counter to
what I'm
them?
hearing there, at least for Olorun.
That
Next
Void
one
Shield
up
nerf.
is Set, and he's been popular even in the ADC role,
Okay.
hasn't he?
Yes.
We've been seeing Set all over the place.
That was fun to see.
Yeah, you like seeing him being taken over there when he can work. That change for him is going to be on Skewer. It increased the cooldown from 7 seconds to 8
there we go.
seconds.
Yeah.
Just going to decrease how
He's
often
got like a
this can-
90%
Yeah, this
ban
is
rate.
what, especially the top end players who can really make use of the
Definitely,
clones and
I
aim and
like
skewer
that,
and use it on
sure.
cooldown to get
Cool.
really aggressive poke. They make the
That's
most use
something.
out of this,
Right.
And that's really what we're targeting. Is we're seeing that very high end set players who can use this all the time. Oop, a little bit of a fall.
Yep.
The set players who can use this all the time, they're the ones that are really pushing him into these lanes and really bullying people. So this will tone that back. People have more options, more opportunities to avoid it, and less opportunities of being poked in general.
Shouldn't have to worry
that
about
it?
quite as often. And then what I would say is our biggest change
Okay,
perhaps
what's-
here is going to be with this next one. Yemoja is the next one up. And I would say that these are all largely buffs here for Yemoja, trying to bring her a little bit more in line. And a lot has changed. So, Pawn, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about
For
Yemoja just in
me?
general here
Yeah.
before we move into it. What made you want to come in and adjust her?
So I think the big thing here is we've noticed that this season we've had a lot of characters that have this like higher skill ceiling overall.
She's hard.
And we've watched people like have to learn these characters and really like grasp what their mechanics and figure out what's going on. And we've also in general they've
buff
released a
the
little bit
god
weaker,
that's
as well as we've
already
just watched
so
how they perform
strong.
over time rather than doing immediate buffs or nerfs. And this has actually worked really well for us the whole year. And so Yemoja's no exception. Yemoja releasing a little bit weak on the low end, actually kind of more on the lot on the low end. But we want to watch and see how people play with her. And the big thing we noticed were two major things. One is her skill shots were hard to hit.
Yes.
They are just different shapes. They have some extra
No,
components about how they
don't
snap.
make
Not a
those
lot of
easier to
abilities
hit. That was
that
actually
fire
really
the way
fun.
Yemoja's
Don't mess
doing.
with
Exactly.
that.
And so
That
we
makes
noticed
her
that she
fun.
was just not dealing as much damage as the characters, even though her kit would suggest that she could. And we also saw people not liking being pigeonholed into one specific build to get Omi. You had to build up to 600 mana, I believe, in MP5 to actually get all 3 stacks. And so that's what we're really targeting with these changes is we're looking at making Omi a bit more accessible overall. Now only one of the Omis is going to be locked behind mana and the rest are going to be gained per level. So maybe you can't rush it as quickly as possible, but you also don't have to build certain specific paths to get your Omi online. And then we're also increasing the actual radius of her 2 1s, both the 1A and 1B, so that they are a bit more easy to hit, a bit more reliable, allowing players to actually land those.
You gonna
more
let me get
successfully.
more
We saw
damage
even,
off?
Like, top end players were having a hard time hitting that ability.
Yeah, I think that there's something to be said for bringing in some of that variance. You felt like you had to build like the cooldown boots, breastplate all the time with Yemoja to get that mana online, but this should open it up.
Yeah, consistency is key here.
Yes, I think that's what that is.
Bonus
It's going to even that
Omi
out a little
2
bit.
reaching
So, like you
level
said, reaching level
12.
4 and 12, that's how you get that
Okay.
bonus Omi 1
Well,
and 2. And then for bonus Omi 3, you do still want some mana in here, but
300
300, I
mana.
think, pretty easy to
I
kind of
mean,
come by. You don't
level 4
necessarily
is
pigeonhole
quick to get
into
that
one
first
specific build.
Omi.
And I would
bar.
argue Breastplate of Valor, especially just with her kit in
With
general,
the
is like a really good
300
item
mana?
anyway.
Yes.
So
Yeah, not by accident that
Yeah.
item I think is good there for her.
You might be able to
Another
get
change
2
here,
Omi
just wanna make
bars
sure that we hit
pretty
on it really
quick.
quickly. Not allowed in those infinite or in the match of the day modes with infinite mana. Obviously, Yemoja with that interaction
Okay.
very
yeah,
strong.
permanent
Yes.
stun lock with the
12,
ones, and also with
14?
that we're doing King Arthur as well. King Arthur has
Oh,
been in that mode for a while. He can get into state where he can ultimate just
Okay.
repeatedly over time.
my God.
That's another character that broke the rules in a lot of ways, and when you combine that rule breaking with match of the day rule breaking, you get some interesting interactions. We're just not going to let that happen anymore.
Thank you,
Just a
Lavo.
heads up. up for you all, those won't be in that mode anymore. As you're seeing down here, Bouncing Bubble, this is what you mentioned earlier, has had that radius increase from 12 to 14. A bit of an odd ability with that second bounce and everything. This should make that a little bit easier to hit. And then Moonstrike, which you already mentioned, had the increased minimum radius increase from 10 to 12. Now, Moonstrike's the one with that sliding target.
Yeah, when it's closer, it's smaller. When it's further, it's larger.
Right. So this means that even when you're using it, when it's at that closest range, it should be a little bit easier to hit than it was before. And then Mending Waters, I think largely considered her one of her strongest abilities. This one appears to have also been getting a little bit of love.
They're buffing the healing? Oh my god!
To 130. So that's a pretty decent amount of healing you get towards the end of that one, it seems like increased.
Yeah, and this is really focused on, we actually looked at her healing stat overall, and it was a bit lower than we kind of expected, as well as we also know that she has to constantly make this trade-off of, do I use my Omi on healing or damage or movement? And so you want to make sure that, especially since the ones are going to be more reliable and consistent now, that the healing also felt impactful.
I like it, Pawn. Just about everything here sounds like more towards reducing that, increasing consistency.
Y'all are gonna hate these changes once I'm in your game. Let me tell you, I'm ruining everybody's right.
Anything else you wanted to make sure that
they are ruined
before we throw it back over to Aggro?
You're gonna have to ban her.
I'm just excited for Heimdall coming up.
Oh, that's exactly
I'm gonna win every game.
Make sure you all are sticking around. New God going to be talked about a little bit later on in the show, but unfortunately, this is not the new God. I got to send you all back over to Aggro.
Oh man.
Geez, sorry, Finch. Didn't know it was gonna be such a problem for you to throw it back over to me, but I'll do my best, I guess.
You've got some Viking-like features.
Yeah, I know. I think I can do the job okay, but luckily I'm not alone here. We've got Tyler, we've got Chris, we've got Fishman joining us. It's time to go over some of the Odyssey skins coming up next. We're gonna start it off with one that I'm excited for.
I'm letting those changes
I've been playing a lot of as of late, which is Achilles. If you watch Belair and the way that he played it at the World
Championships, believe they didn't nerf any warrior hybrid items, any physical hybrid items, any warriors.
And we've got a lot of skins for you today, so let me let you know right off the bat.
I cannot believe it. That's incredible.
This is the last patch of Season 6, a little bit of a longer downtime between this and the next update.
It is confirmed the last patch of Season 6. I thought so, but they just like, there you go. So the next patch will be like January 28th or something.
Good.
Lots of content this patch, that's for sure.
Lots of it. We got plenty of skins to go over. But this one in particular, I'm excited for. Let's take a listen to the voice pack here.
A lot of skins is what you mean. A lot of skins.
I'll try to keep my temper under control, but these other gods are already getting to me. When I get angry, I'm supposed to count backward from 10, but I count kills instead. Do you want to be a charred corpse? Because taunting me is how you end up a charred corpse.
So we've done some form shifts with Achilles before. He's got the one where he goes cat form or man form. You know, we got a couple of things like that. This one, pure demon.
Yeah, lawful evil presence for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And then like man demon, sort of in between for him there. I'm here for it, man. I love these little forms with Achilles.
Terrifying. Yeah, and both forms, the artist Quinn did a really good job on these. It's really, really terrifying.
His voice pack was a little oof, but I mean the skin's cool.
Yeah, hell is hot.
I mean fire and red and demon is cool. I guess.
I haven't been there personally.
Well, we're just guessing, more or less. Yeah. I think that Achilles is just one of those gods that it needs to flow really well and have all of his sort of movements in form kind of.
Do they not want to show us the developer conquest map? That could be it.
Yeah, this is
that
this
could be
that
it.
Kind of agile.
We might be on Arena right now because
that we really like
the local client. They've already updated some stuff for Season 7 to test, so they don't want to show it probably.
Absolutely,
it's a decent theory.
Honestly, yeah, I like the profile of the spikes and the shape of the shield. Like it, even though the shield is a defensive thing, it has a very like aggressive profile to it. I like it.
Perfect.
Is that an eyeball in his chest?
Yeah. I mean, you need.
I think the
skin
skin
is
is
fine. A little bit more down in hell. So I know you guys.
Jokes on you guys. This is the new conquest map.
That's very important down there. Yeah, especially one a little bit lower than the typical head. Sure, perfect spacing.
Yeah, no, that's cool because I know we do like gems a lot and that kind of thing as like a body accessory. So the idea of like I don't know, something about that is really, really cool and kind of different from what we usually do.
I kind of harkens like, I don't know, Eye of Ball or like Sauron.
Okay, now we're just
Looking
waiting a
on you,
long
like something
time on this
sinister that you
skin
do not
that
wanna see
wasn't
you.
that exciting to
Got all
begin
eyes on
with.
you.
No one has an eyeball in their chest, and you're like,
We're
that guy's
waiting for
probably
the new
cool.
God
Yeah,
kick.
yeah.
Come on.
We should go for coffee.
Come on.
You know
We all
what,
want the
what
new
that guy's
God.
about
You know
if
it.
he's got an eyeball in his chest. So I
The
think
skin's
that
fine.
It gives you the form that very nice. All right, next up, Shadow Step Mercury is next up. Again, these are all part of the Odyssey. And this one, I saw a preview of a couple weeks ago, and I have been waiting.
So is this kind of like
not
that
so
Sir
patiently
Cat
for it.
theme, like her ninja
I
Sir Cat theme?
love this
So
skin.
Mercury.
Just based on this card art alone.
It's got such a unique silhouette. Like, it's really iconic. Like, you could see this guy in his own game. You know what I mean?
Easily.
Yeah, with that hair, for
Yeah.
sure.
He's got some really good product on that
Protagonist
hair.
hair.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what's going on with this guy. All right, let's take a look at him in game and listen to the voice pack.
That last fight was a bore. Hope these foes put up a better challenge. Who needs to be stealthy? If you move fast enough, no one can see you anyway. I've spent years training in the ninja way.
Kinda
only to
looks
face
like
someone
Shiba
so
Lanke.
underwhelming.
He's got protagonist voice too, guys. That's, I mean, we're really doing it right
Shadow
away.
Step Saga.
That's
Oh,
an
yeah,
opening.
yeah.
What time is his show on?
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of which, it's very funny. Normally we get these little notes, and it's supposed to say new
little purple
anim,
sound
to stand for
effects.
animation, but there's a typo that says new anime,
Basically.
to match new proportions.
I didn't even realize it was a typo.
Yeah, I'm not
I
sure
was like,
what
oh
it
yeah,
is,
he's got a new
actually.
anime coming out.
No,
I'll buy it. Yeah.
I'm tuning in.
Kind of looks like
right
a
away.
paladin's character. It doesn't look a ton
It's been far
actually.
too
It kind
long.
of doesn't
I don't
look
think we
like
have
a
enough ninja
Smite
skins because ninjas are just
character.
outright cool.
Almost.
I'm down for every god in the 100 to get a ninja skin.
I like
for
the
sure.
scarf.
Yeah, the scarf is perfect.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I think I'm neutral on
back
it.
that he has on that animation.
I think it's kind of cool,
really,
but it
really
almost
perfect.
doesn't feel very Smitey.
I'm here for it.
I can't get over how like iconic he looks. Like I really love his color scheme. It's like super cool.
I think I'm
Yeah,
neutral on
you can
it.
definitely tell a little bit of a different. He looks a little bit like it's a different run animation. He's a little bit
Koga
bulkier
from
almost.
Paladin.
It
That he's
seems
looked
like a
like
lot of work
Paladin's
went into adjusting him from his normal form to make it work for this skin.
Totally. There's always a lot of we've kind of gotten really tight knit between the rigging, the animation, and the modeling teams to pull off this kind of thing. And yeah, it's true for a lot of these kinds of skins. There's a lot of rework that goes into the rig and that kind of thing.
I'm not like against
it worked out really well here.
I'm digging it. There it is. It's Shadow Step Mercury.
I like the white hair too.
Yeah, of course.
Like piece of flair. Yeah.
Gotta love that. Next up, Crystal Fae Isis. Next
Here
up
we
on
go.
the list.
Come on, give me.
She's the Stones Keeper of the Fae Kingdom, collector of beautiful things and guardian
That's
of the
Discordia.
Royal Vault. Now, normally
Gorgeous.
Tina would be on here. I'd have to go into a little bit of detail on the Royal Vault, but that I guess is for Isis to know and for us to find out.
Yeah,
Aren't you glad you get to do the lore?
That's not ISIS, though. That's
Um,
Discordia.
Yeah, so in the Royal Vault. Oh,
I
sorry,
played
I
a
was
lot
just
of
about to go into
ISIS.
it, but they
I
told me
would
that
know.
The in-game stuff is ready,
That's
so we got
Discordia.
Oh,
right
sure.
now. Unlucky
Don't have
for
enough
us.
time, unfortunate.
So close.
Stones are my livelihood.
Okay.
I will protect them with my life. What happens if you cross a werewolf with a fae? A hairy fairy.
Goddamn.
It got me.
Stay back. This moonlight stone holds untold powers.
Huh.
There you go. That's all the lore you need. Feel like everything's
Hairy fairies. What else do you want?
There you go.
Look at these gorgeous
all
wings.
there.
It looks-
Yeah.
Like, there's
So this is the first skin on the new
Well,
Isis model.
I wanted to say it looks
Talking about
it
setting the bar
looks
high.
more
These wings.
it
are
looks more
absolutely
ISIS-y
amazing. And the effects on these
in-game, but
abilities-
not
I mean,
a
just
ton.
Even the effects
It definitely
targeters on the
looks like a
ground before you start
hybrid
throwing stuff.
ISIS.
That is a huge part for me of
Discordia.
which skin I'm going to use. I'm loving this skin already.
Yeah.
I love it.
I really do think throughout 2019 and going into the new year, we've like really
The
stepped
spear
up
ball looked
some
really
of the
cool.
art on these skins.
I
mean, this
I
is
get
just
really
gorgeous.
like this. The skin looks
you
pretty
decide
cool,
what skin you use
but
by the
I
particles?
genuinely get
Partially,
nervous.
Yeah. Listen,
For new players
all
when
together,
skins look
you know?
like
that
this.
is
Okay.
important to me.
It's part of the comprehensive picture.
Like I feel like
That's one
skins
nice,
shouldn't
like,
be
crisp
confusing.
target, so you can know that
Yeah,
you're
You know,
it
and
looks
if you're a
cool.
new
I
player
am starting
and
to
you
put
just
more
had a
abilities
game
on
against
instant cast these
Discordia
days,
and you
so it
go
matters
against
to me
this, I
less
do
now
fear
than
a
it
little
used to.
bit that you're
But,
gonna
like if
think
I'm
it's
just hovering, if I'm
Discordia.
walking the lane and I hover this first, the wing gust,
So-
and I like the targeter that I'm looking at.
I
it's gonna make
sometimes
me
fear a
happy.
little
So,
bit that the skins get too
that's
close
gonna-
to
that's
other
gonna set me
gods.
up to
Kind of like the
do
way
well
that
in
new
lane.
Apollo skin is like
It's
really
mentality.
cool, but it
Yeah,
doesn't
just
look
a
like
moment to
Apollo,
talk
you
about the
know?
staff too. Like
Yeah, the
I
staff
really
very
love the
different.
look
And-
of the staff.
And the headpiece.
I just get a little bit
behind the head.
nervous for new
Yeah.
players
as well.
Yeah, I'm a
Where does
sucker
it
for that.
go when she's not
So
doing her thing, her wing gust?
You know,
It like disappears.
fairy magic.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's fairy magic, man. It just disappears. She doesn't need it. She places it on the ground for her ultimate, and then she.
I mean, it's a cool skin. Like, this is my favorite
it out.
skin
Yeah.
so
Puts it in
far.
the
I mean, I
royal
also
vault.
like.
That's
This is
right.
one of my
Yeah.
favorite
Part of her
characters.
Stone's Keeper.
Rules.
But
Yeah.
I do get a
As the
little
lore
bit,
says, we all know.
a
Keep
little
up.
bit
Keep up,
nervous
man.
with
Oh my
favorite
God,
powers.
Pond,
some
keep
of
up to
the
this guy.
some of
He's
the
gonna-
skin
what if
effects
Pond
and
just ends the game
sounds
before
being
we-
too
before we get
different,
through all
so
the
people
skins?
don't know what's
GG's.
hitting
You're
them,
gonna be
stuff
up to a
like
pretty good
that.
lead.
you
We got a
know,
hard time
Regardless
on
of like
this. Let's go.
bugs with audio and whatnot.
Witchbane Izanami is next up on the list. This one, a very different Izanami look.
Okay.
Oh,
But
it was
I am in the
Itsy
market
skin that
for
they
new
accidentally
glasses.
showed
and
there.
I think I'm getting a little bit of
Okay.
inspiration right here. I just don't know if I could pull off
Okay.
Definitely rose tinted.
Those
Yeah,
like
that-
Elton John glasses.
They actually are, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
I'm
they
not so
are.
interested anymore. Let's take a look at Witchbane Izanami.
I'm more interested now.
Some monsters may be immortal, but I can assure you they always
Yeah.
have a weakness.
Yeah, that looks like
Hey,
it's
what do
a
you call
Nami
criminal
still, but
vampire?
different.
A fangster.
Come on.
No further movement, or I will shoot this stake right through your heart.
Now this is a very different look for Izanami. Normally she's freaking out a little bit. You
Yeah.
know, she
Yeah.
never can quite
I can
sit
deal
still.
with that.
This is very different for her. There's the first skin where she's human, and a whole bunch of changes. We
Izzy Osborne.
internally kind of categorize this as a tier 4 skin, correct?
Izzy
Yeah,
Osborne,
a lot
indeed.
of changes went into animation, as y'all can probably tell. She's a lot less atrophied, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
these days
Yeah.
for the skin. Yeah, really, really cool. Shout out to Hans on the character modeling team for this model, too. I love how the materials read. Just really, really a lot of presence.
Ozzy
I think
Nami.
there is another Izanami skin that has green as one of the primary colors to her effects, but it's very different than this. And I'm sure the base model does a lot to kind of differentiate that as well.
Oh
It's not
man,
that
that's what I'm calling her from
sickly
now
green
on.
that is like
Oh
the
man,
spectral Pele
I'm getting
skin or
this
something
skin,
like
and
that.
I'm
Yeah.
officially
It's a little
only
bit-
calling her
it has
Ozzy
that
Nami.
nature to it,
That's
but
too
it
good.
has a very different
That's a
feel
cool
to it.
looking alt.
It's lich green.
Yeah,
you go.
Yeah.
it's a good descriptor for it.
Uh-huh.
Definitely new weapons as well. Normally with the sickles there, these
I
kind
like
of
the,
Yeah, I can deal with that.
the double. That's cool, and I like the little flipping animation she did with him we saw before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that too looks
this is a super
really
cool.
hard
It's kind of crazy
to
that
see.
this is the first human Izanami.
From like an enemy
Yeah, right.
perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
She's
Um,
actually
Wow, that
is the
looked
body
almost
instead of like kind
invisible
of being
from this
possessed.
angle.
Yeah,
of the
exactly.
body,
Finally
yeah.
can get out from under that possession.
Yeah.
All right, next up, the Mighty Storm Jormungandr. This Jorm skin has
Look at this
arms,
card art.
and
Oh
that
my
is the headline for me.
Yeah.
Arms Jorm. He's working out.
Army
Arm
He's
Jorm,
no longer just a
okay.
tube.
That's right.
He's there for lifting now.
Sure.
He's not just a worm wiggling around. Let's take a listen to the voice pack here for Mighty Storm Jorm, whenever we're ready.
Dawn breaks open once again, like a delicious wound that bleeds afresh.
Oh my gosh.
Why are dragons the best at storytelling? Because we all have tales. Watch your tongue. Your next words might be your last.
I love this.
This is so cool.
Not only does it, okay, you definitely forget how big he is
I
whenever
think
it's just
this
that
was
little video.
supposed to be a
He
serious
is
skin, but this
still
could be the
massive.
funniest skin ever put into
Yeah.
the
Which is everything you want.
The hair on the skin is so cool. There's like this has got to be some of the most work we put into like individual like clumps of hair.
Yeah.
Oh, but I kind of
definitely
love
sells
it.
The whole
I
Chinese
kind
dragon
of
thing.
love how bad it is.
Yeah.
It's almost like
Maybe the
ironic.
character that we used to have.
Oh God.
Smite?
Yeah, you know, maybe just like scaled up a
I'm
little
kind
bit.
of having
maybe
a
a-
moment
Mighty
here.
Storm also kind of rings a
Oh
bell.
my
we're,
God.
You know, Bart's back. We're bringing it all
Oh
back to
man,
classic.
he's
Straight from nostalgia,
he's
we're
very
reeling
cute
it all in.
compared to
That's
his
right.
card
Yeah.
art.
I mean, look,
Ah.
a whole lot of people just got the whole
Oh,
streaming service.
T-Rex looking ass, dude. Woo.
Figure may as well try
Oh
it out.
man, I might have to start playing Jorm
This,
now.
this different effects too.
That's too good.
On most
Oh,
of the
man,
other Jorm
that
stuff,
actually
even
hurt
the
my
plushie
cheeks, that was
Jorm,
too
it's kind of
funny.
a dull color on his pools.
Oh,
These
man.
stand out more than any other.
Yeah,
For sure.
I like the projectiles that go back from the pool to him.
Yeah.
They don't stand out too much on other skins, but this is like it
Oh.
feels
I like those.
Thank you.
Kind of
I appreciate this moment, Hi-Rez. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, when he dives down to the little explosion fireballs, the little smoke trails as well. Those are great.
He's gonna chase you around. I'm gonna get you.
I love this guy.
I'm gonna.
And he's got arms now.
Yeah.
Like, now he can, I don't know, eat a bowl of cereal if he wanted to. Like that wasn't.
Sing karaoke.
Yeah, exactly.
We should ask the
Oh,
animation
okay.
team.
I didn't realize it, but Jorm should not have arms.
Lucky Charms.
That is not a
big
good
one,
design.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Also want to let you guys know some exciting new news. We talked a little bit a bit ago in one of the other previous update shows about some returning adventures at the end of this year. We've got a returning adventure to talk about right now. It's Fafnir's Wonderland, but without the Fafnir. Instead, with Heimdall. It's now going to be called Heimdall's Crossing. It's a lot like Fafnir's Wonderland. It's back, but where's Fafnir? The Bifrost has opened, and Heimdall is taking over the show. Fight until you fall against
the
waves of increasingly difficult
one?
PvE encounters.
Yeah.
Relive the zany enemies of Yuletide past and discover new challenges. Do you have what it takes to survive Heimdall's Crossing?
One of the PvE ones.
There is a new quest as well if you play a game of Heimdall's Crossing and earn the Ferocious Hen avatar from the original event. So you get your good holiday cheer in while beating up on some PvE mobs with your friends. It is a really good time. If you never played Fafnir's Wonderland, you certainly missed out. Now's your chance to get back into it. And now's our chance to get it away from me and back over to Finch on the desk.
Thanks, Aggro.
Is
nice
it
to get a chance to look at that new
new
Norman
God
Goodness game.
time, or is it
Pretty
like
nice. We'll
community
talk
stuff?
about some community stuff here
It's
now. Still
community
Finch,
stuff. All right.
and I'm now joined instead of Pon by Isaiah. How you doing here, man?
That's right. I'm doing good. How about you,
Isaiah?
man?
I'm doing good too.
I say it
Happy
every
to have
time,
you
but
here
Isaiah's
on
my boy.
On the desk here with me, a couple things you want to make sure that we update you all.
You got a
on, so
problem?
You know what's going to be
tweet out
happening here
Isaiah.
throughout
He'll
these
fix
next
you
few
up real
weeks.
nice.
First things first is that this is going to be a pretty
He's
good
the man.
weekend to be playing some Smite, the cutesy Avatar chest, and 2 times.
And he
everything.
rocks the
Exactly. You got a
Adidas.
long weekend coming up with the holidays, so we want to make sure that we got stuff going on in game. Play games, get 2 times favor worshippers and XP, and then if you win 3 games, you get a cutesy avatar chest.
Yeah, not a bad deal just for playing a little bit of Smite. That's not the only thing that's going to be coming your way, though.
But wait,
Also
there's
wanna
more.
mention That cutesy ISIS avatar submissions are now open, so you all can start sending in your own submissions, and hopefully we can get you into the game right next to some of those other ones. Some of those avatars that are in the game now are some of my favorite ones. So I hope that
they're
you
so
all keep them
good.
coming.
ISIS has a brand new look, so we want to make sure we get some new cutesy avatars to match that new look. So if you guys want to have a chance to get your cutesy ISIS avatar art into the cutesy avatar chest, go ahead and go to smitegame.com and submit your art.
And this has been blowing up on Twitter. Our next thing here, man, is that the Olympian applications for next year are open right now. I feel like this is a huge success this year.
Oh, most definitely.
They got
yeah.
to
If
be
you were
really
an
well involved. You want to talk
Olympian
about them and then
last
and then
year,
this
I think you
first
can
of all,
still
the
be an
Olympians program, we
Olympian
started it
this
this
year,
year, and it's been
so.
absolutely incredible. Those 9 players, we've got so much insight that they've brought to the dev team, so many changes that they've had an impact on in order to make Smite the best it can be, and we're excited that we're continuing the program into 2020. Applications are open right now at smitegame.com/Olympians, and they will close on January 1st. So you've got a little bit of time, but if you're interested in serving
What
on
did
the
they
Olympians
do?
next year, go ahead and head over
Supposedly,
to the website and fill out
they
an
have
application.
Yeah, and I want to make sure I say you don't have to feel like you're at the
impact
top
over
end of
Smite
SPL
buffs and
knowledge
nerfs and
to be someone that's
changes
here.
and
There's
stuff?
representatives that cover a lot of different areas.
Most
Maybe if you're
definitely.
just console or if you're more casual, whatever it is, there's a ton of different areas that we
so.
cover with this. We need representation for
Exactly,
everyone in our
yeah.
fan base. So really, this should be open to you as long as you love Smite. You think you can help, you should certainly submit. Next thing up is that Dev Chest charity. Hopefully, you all saw that video coming into this, Isaiah.
Yeah,
I know
so
you
that
got
was a
yourself
fun
chest
thing
too.
that we got going on. If
Yeah.
you guys caught the
Dev
show
Chest
beforehand,
Showdown.
we have
I did
8
not. I caught
devs.
the very
We're all
end.
battling it out for charity and to get a chance at an exclusive item in game. 8 devs drafted some of their top skins to go into a chest, and those chests are going to come out in mid-December. We'll have more information on the website after the show. But if you guys, the chest that does the best will have up to $25,000 donated to charity,
Oh, wow.
and then all the other charities that the devs chose will also get a charitable donation sent to them too.
Wow.
And we sent out a straw poll right after the show, and unfortunately I have to say that you guys chose the wrong answer, and you guys thought Tina had the best chest.
Oh,
I
they
was in
just voted
second
for
place.
Tina. You should have
yeah,
put names
I
on
wasn't
them.
far behind, but yeah. So it looks like you guys think Tina has the best chest, but we'll see what happens next month.
We certainly
Okay.
will. That is something great and a lot of fun happening on at the same time there. Love to hear it, Isaiah. The last thing to let you know is that we keep the charitable times going, is that there will be a charity stream happening on December 12th. I don't know a whole lot about this, but I imagine this is similar to like the Spring Fling type things going to be happening here in December.
Exactly, yeah. It's going to be our Spring Fling charity event, but in winter. It's called Winter Wishes. It's going to be on December 12th from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. We'll have more information coming out shortly, so stay tuned.
Exactly right. Make sure that you keep those ears open. You want to make sure you know everything that could potentially be happening with that. The Spring Fling type events are some of the most fun things, the things I look forward to a lot when I first started here as well. So make sure that you're keeping your eyes open for that one. But that's going to do it for us here on the desk, Isaiah. I appreciate you joining me here, buddy.
No problem.
We've got a lot more to get through throughout this patch note show. Remember, Heimdall is going to be revealed here a little bit later on as well with an in-depth look at his kit. So we'll have all that coming at you in just a little bit.
Thank you, Finch and Isaiah, mostly to Isaiah.
Bit, do you mean right now?
I don't know why. I just felt like saying that. We've got the same crew here with us to go over some more skins, except for one. Fish had to step out and go do Fishman stuff instead. We've got Hajiki. Certainly a worthy replacement.
Lost some hair.
Please, man.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a lot shorter hair than Fish, but it's okay.
We're not bringing Fish in for the hair. You know, that's
like 6 new
kind
chests.
of secondary to what else he brings.
Apparently,
so I'm sure
all
you'll
the
do
new
just
skin.
fine.
Less hair, more content.
Exactly
4 balance
That's what
changes.
we're looking for around here. Want to remind you guys that this is going to be a little bit heavier on the skin section because this is the last update before Season 7. So, of course, we've got to get enough content.
How are you going to make it heavy on the skin content,
around.
but
So
not
let's kick
heavy
it
on
off
the balance
with Cursed
content
Pharaoh
70 days
Hades.
ago?
Hades, a skin that this skin blew me away.
You can't
as
fool
soon
me
as I
with
saw the
this
card
really
art, man.
cool looking card
I
art.
love it.
I'm sticking to my guns. I'm sticking to my guns.
his
You
mouth
can't
that
fool
big?
me with
Is
this
that what I'm seeing?
amazing looking
Right there?
potential skin.
Indeed.
No,
As far as I
I'm
know.
sticking to
I
my
mean,
guns.
I guess
I
we'll see
wanted
for
balance
sure,
changes.
I mean, I guess
I
if
don't
you're
care
gonna be
how
munching on
cool this
souls,
skin
you
is.
gotta be prepared.
I don't care how
for some
cool it
big
is,
ones.
unless it's really
And
cool.
That is intimidating.
Yeah.
I will say.
And then I'll forget
Let's
about
take
it for
look
just
at
a
it
second.
in-game Cursed Pharaoh.
Just a second.
Rejoice, my
Dang it.
subjects,
Really
for your
cool.
pharaoh has returned. Did you say something? Sorry, I'm all wrapped up in myself. If you will not serve me in life, you will in death.
I gotta say, I
want to see these spell effects.
Pantheon
Spell effects
crossovers.
make or break Hades.
I think they are.
Okay, actually, the
so
skin
cool
from the back is
every
actually
single
not nearly
time.
as cool as
And
I
this
thought it would
one
be.
is just a slam dunk. I mean, it. Pantheon
Okay,
crossover,
that one was actually
undead
boring.
mummy pharaoh
Oh, no.
for Hades.
Oh my God, those.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Something
Are
about
really
Hades
boring.
is very conducive to,
Okay,
to
the fear was
Egyptian thing, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know why the 1 and the
plus,
3 were so
2
boring.
mouths, an additional mouth on his belt.
That's true. Yeah, he's got to get all the.
Never
all the
mind.
points
Those
covered.
effects
Definitely a
are
different
boring.
sort of color style for Hades. A lot of times it's either purple, like his default, or a lot of red.
I take
for a lot of
everything
his
back
skin.
that I
This one,
said. This is
very
a
different
lame
colored
skin.
blue. That
But once
just, I
again,
think, looks
though,
awesome.
whoever does their card art, let me tell you,
experimented a lot
they're
with
great.
color, and I know,
They are
we really
amazing. So they
decided
make
on
these
that
skins
kinda
that
sandy
suck
core
seem
to kind of
awesome.
harken back to the desert kind of
They
theme.
need to hire that person that does
and-
card art for like
and
other
it turned out
things.
really, really cool.
And for what it's worth, Chris, the targeter on the 2 looking really good.
Wow, that
You like
effect
it?
is
Yeah,
so
cool,
cool.
man. Yeah,
That's sick. Make you happy? Spark joy?
Yeah, I'm here for that one.
Spark
Wow,
joy.
that is underwhelming.
And of course, the effects once it's actually fired are solid as well. Definitely.
I do want to point out it was still kind of work in progress. There's going to be a little more detail on the 1 when he comes up and
Okay.
his in hands. So
Okay.
keep an eye out for that.
Absolutely.
Nice. Yeah.
Check that out when it comes to PTS. And of course, in game. All right, next up, Cursed Bloodline Ao Kwang. This. Oh man, that is not what I hadn't seen this one, and this was not what I was expecting. But
They somehow found a way to work titties
who is
into a
that?
male skin. They
That's
did it.
unlucky for her.
We've peaked.
Yeah.
Or
Maybe
is
she's
it?
We've done
into
it,
She likes
Hi-Rez.
it.
Yeah, I don't know. Man, I'm not here to make assumptions.
You've absolutely
50
done
Shades
it.
of Owl.
They figured it out.
That's why
Good
we
for
signed
you.
Jiki in for Fish. Let's take a
Good
listen
for
to this
you.
voice back in game.
That's how we sell
It
skins.
has truly been years since I've had a good feast. Have you seen Mercury around? I am dying for some fast food. The smell of your blood is irresistible.
Oh, he got real loud.
Thanks for that. That's a weird compliment that I've never gotten before. That fast food joke was actually pretty solid, I got to admit. I mean, you want to talk normally like we've had some vampire-themed skins before.
Is
Van
that
obviously comes to mind.
the
But
same?
I mean, he is decked in some serious armor. ready to go. And,
that bat stuff is really cool.
Yeah, so he's got all kinds of bats now on this skin. They went really
doesn't he have a
hard
skin
on
that
it.
looks just like
Looks
this,
really
the dragon
good.
skin?
Yeah, I'll say.
Like
I mean,
his cloak is
it's
like
the
made
dragon
out of
call,
like
but
the Dragon
bat
Knight
call
Kling's look, isn't it?
That I think I can say.
Yeah.
This is a
I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying like it's like
This
it's almost
is
like he's
all I
wearing
want
a
in vampire,
cloak
the
of like a
giant
previous
collar,
version of him.
just like completely oversized and like just the dark reds and yeah.
Do it, Pawn.
Do the old.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
There it
yeah.
is.
It's
It's a giant bat.
Okay, that is so
It's literally like
The
giant
Camazotz
Camazotz.
butts we've been waiting for.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Like
yeah,
giant
Camazotz
Camazotz.
got some love in this patch, but then immediately got shot down by an even
I think
bigger
it's cool.
bat right away.
I think this is probably
Just
the
like
most
his pose,
consistent
too,
from
his-
like
his
card art
stance
to
is
actual
perfectly
skin so
conducive
far,
to,
which is
like,
nice.
That vampire look, you know,
Yeah.
love it.
just emanating power. He's just better than you know, at all times, and oftentimes true for Ao Kuang. All right, next up, Hammerhead Vulcan.
This is one of my favorites. I really, really like this one.
How did I not? I saw so many skins before this patch, and I was like, wow, there are some sick skins that people are
Is
really
that
going to like.
Fish
And
Boy?
I managed to miss so many more sick skins. It actually is insane.
Fish Boy Vulcan?
This one, it's Shark Vulcan, man. who comes up with this stuff, number one, and then
Okay.
executes it this well? I don't understand. Let's take a listen to the voice back.
Our mighty foes are you? That smells fishy. You fell for that one. Hook, line, and sinker. My people are proud, and I'm gonna make them even prouder.
Just gonna say, I'm glad fish don't have feet in real life.
Yeah, it reminds me of old Poseidon feet, which always scared me a little bit. These are
Yeah,
just
he's
kind
kind of like a lizard.
It certainly works.
More
Splish
lizard
splash
than
when he
shark.
walks. I love it. It's got the little puddles.
Fine.
Dude,
That's
this
a cool
is so
water
cool
effect.
and is just so. Oh
That's
my
really
god, it's an
cool.
octopus.
Oh,
This shit.
Yep,
This
yep,
makes no sense. And I love it. I love everything about this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is preposterous.
You don't see shark humanoids very often, so.
No.
Thank goodness.
Cool
you
little
know?
explosion on
I
the
guess for a
three.
reason. He's got. Oh, is that another?
Yeah,
little
check
pet?
the meatball. It's like
The meatball.
It's a puffer fish.
It's a big blobby puffer
Okay.
fish. It's beautiful.
He's got his boys, man. They're not going to let him walk out of the ocean and just start doing his thing out on the battleground by himself. They've got to come and help him out.
He definitely came with a squad.
Yeah, he's rolling squad deep.
A school, even.
Also, these splashes are really nice on his meatball and his ultimate. It's like,
Yeah.
they're really good looking.
Really good effect. And his passive effect on him, too, just kind of
Oh, give
like
me that ult,
the
give me that
water
ult.
effect around him,
Give me
looks
the
really, really
ultimate.
awesome.
What's it look like?
Yeah.
This skin is so crazy, man.
A lot of the materials on his skin read
Cool.
really well for that too. He's got this like really specular kind of read on him.
I kind of like the
The
spell
scales
effects more than I
show
like
up
the
really
actual
nicely,
skin,
too.
personally.
Are those little
whatever.
sharks that he shoots out that are the missiles?
I think it's two more little puffers.
Little puffer fishes, but
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
not puffed, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. Different puffer fishes, so you
Alright.
know, the
Unpuffered
difference.
fish.
Unpuffered.
It's weird that this skin has like
Well, they're
so
gonna
much
puff
going
when they
on the
land,
spell
you know,
effects.
It's just a little bit
And then
later.
like we had
Do
the
you think they
Hades
die
skin
every
where
time
like
he
nothing was
does that?
happening. It's weird that they would like make.
I think that they.
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of weird.
rebuilt themselves
It's like this one has so much more
molecular
detail,
level.
like a little
See, I think they're already
pufferfish and a
dead 'cause
splash
they
and
can't
everything. And
breathe
meanwhile, the
outside of
Hades
the
skin
water.
is like.
so he's just tossing
I'm
carcasses
good.
at people.
That octopus is breathing just fine, man. He's doing the little breathing animation. He's kind of wiggling a little bit. He can convert oxygen into from the air.
Yeah.
He's all good.
That's canon.
Yeah, that is sold. All right, Shadow
Did you miss
Spectre
the balance
Horus
part
is
of this?
next
Yeah,
up
probably,
on the
because it
list.
was like 30 seconds
This
long.
one, so unbelievably creepy and
Man,
weird.
there really is a
And
lot
these
of
skins
skins.
always
They're
freak
really
me out the
doubling
most.
down.
The Bakasura one truly has given me a nightmare before, and the Izanami and Opwatch ones are equally as creepy. And now it's
Okay.
like the big dad of all of them.
Big
you know?
dad.
This is one of my favorite themes that we've done over the last couple years.
I do like these. I do
and
like this theme a lot.
I think before anyone
Baka, Itzy,
pushed
and
one,
Pooch
at
and all
least,
them.
they were a little more humanoid, whereas this one goes into the kind of creature realm.
Yeah.
I really, really like it.
So creepy. And every voice pack has been creepy for these so far. I imagine that Shadow Spectre Horus's will be much the same.
I see you also like to live dangerously.
Cool.
For me, it matters not, for I exist between life and death. The forest may seem bewildering to you, but I have been lost in here for millennia.
Creepy.
Staying too long here might leave you a bit disoriented. Do be careful.
Yep, will do. Will do.
That was
You
nice.
are pretty scary.
Pretty
scary, I gotta say.
All you need is a voice filter and to do things that are bad for your voice.
Nice.
Funny story, actually, in college, my college professor told me that I should start smoking and drinking to lower my voice. That doesn't sound like good advice for me. It happened naturally, so you don't have to do it, kids. Don't listen when they tell you that. This one is nicer than the rest, which is definitely a good theme for Horus. He always a protector. That's what he does.
Yeah.
But you don't spend millennia walking a forest and seem normal.
Okay.
So I think that all of this tracks for me.
Yeah. Yeah, he stays spooky, but you know he's got that protector air about him. You know?
Dude, that looks like a very new animation for his ult. His kind of posturing.
Cool.
In the
That's a
ghost
D&D
form of
monster.
ult.
It is,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah, turns out my group is actually going to be facing Horus next week.
It's like he's kind
in
of
their dungeon.
climbing above the tree line to kind of scout.
As it turns
yeah, I love
out.
it.
This is definitely like the dude you see it kind of at the end of an episode, like right as the main character's walking into the forest, like what's up? You don't really know what's going on.
Yeah,
that's what I'm seeing here.
I love these runic effects too. That kind of match his whole theming.
Nice.
Super nice.
Absolutely, loving it. Shadow Spectre Horus again, the same theme as Bakasura, Izanami, and Opwash. So we almost got a full roster ready to go for that team composition if you want to creep out your opponents.
Heimdall time.
Honestly, all those characters work pretty well together. Horus Opwash is a pretty nasty combo.
I want my new
All right,
hunter
Illuminator
to run
Kronos
in the mid lane. Nope,
is
it's a
next
skin.
up on the list. Kronos hasn't gotten a skin in a long time.
No, he doesn't. And
Feels
Kronos'
like,
skins all
it's certainly
suck,
been worth the
except
wait
for,
just
like,
based on this
the
card art
energy
alone. That is a very different look for him.
It is a
and
different
one that
look.
I'm kind of digging right now. A lot of different stuff with this Illuminator sort of vibe. We had the Baron skin that was kind of like this.
Yeah.
Looks like Kronos is doing much of the same stuff. Let's take a listen to the voice back here for Kronos.
Everything is a matter of perception.
Wow,
Even
that's not
time
how I
will
pictured
bend
that
when
in game.
Seen from a new angle.
Did
Sorry
not
if
see
I
that one
seem
coming.
blue. I spilled paint all over myself. Your mind is an empty husk I will fill with light.
Thank you. I don't know if that was supposed to be nice or not.
That's
but
a compliment.
Okay, it looks cool from the back, though.
I've heard the phrase "empty husk" with.
Got some pretty cool aesthetics from like the back.
A humanoid Kronos. I mean, he's already very human-like, you know, most of the time, but it's more mechanical. This has actually got normal human skin, I believe, for the first time.
Yeah, for sure. I also really
cool animation
love,
on the one.
We've had a lot of good wings on this patch.
Yeah.
These are some of my favorites. Also, just they have like a really cool materiality to them that match
kind
the
of
effects
a-
really nicely.
the
Yeah,
wing
these effects are
thing's
great.
a little
It makes so
weird.
much sense for Kronos, this sort of thing, and his staff is
The paint
paintbrush.
on it is it's really cool.
But still maintaining that
That's
curve
to
that
come in.
Kronos
The
staff
spell
normally has
effects
for the
are
Hands of Time.
excellent.
With the
Those are freaking
paint
cool.
time stuff, whatever that is. Couldn't be
Yeah, I
described
think
as.
these illuminators kind of weave the cosmos with their artistic ability.
Tina coming in with the lore.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what we need here on the update show, as always. We'll let you guys know that some elements are still a work in progress for this, much like the Hades skin, so look for that to be finished up when you either playtest it on PTS or, of course, when it goes live into the game. But the staff alone, totally selling me on this.
I can't get over that ult either. I love the effects on that. Just,
From the front,
it
he
really
looks pretty,
pops.
like,
The
low,
colors are just perfect for him. And the three
like,
as
just,
well
like,
definitely,
low textured.
stood out.
But
Basically,
from
every
the
ability
back,
was
he looks
perfect.
pretty decent, and I
by
like
the
his
skin.
spell
Okay,
effects
next
a
up,
lot, so.
Lost Soul King Arthur. King Arthur, an arrogant hero that has started to become
Holy cow,
corrupted
more skins. This
by
is
an
crazy,
ancient
y'all. This
power.
is like the 12th skin.
I mean, in his defense, when you're looking like this, it's a little hard to not be arrogant, right?
Yeah.
This is
I relate so much.
Right. Yeah. Chris. That's why I was looking at you.
Yeah.
Correctly. I thought that. I know you often struggle with combating these ancient powers that might corrupt you.
But it's hard.
You've been able to do a great job. Unfortunately for Lost Soul King Arthur,
gotta
he has
get on
not
your
been
level.
quite as successful as you. Definitely looking a little. I mean, King Arthur normally has got all this huge armor. Seems like a little bit stripped
Was
down
there
here,
anything
but
in the
still
balance
has a lot of
section?
it, but a little bit
Yemoja
more
stronger,
just doing it by
Kamaza
himself.
stronger. That was
he's a
it.
beast, apparently. Let's take a listen to the voice pack for Lost Soul King.
Nothing else will change.
Where will today lead me? What places will I see? Whose blood will I spill? You want to see a magic trick? Fine. I'll make your head disappear.
Oh.
My sword will cleave your body. My magic will raise your soul.
His face is giving
Gotta
me,
like
I'm
raise
kind of
up.
off-put
Yeah,
by
I guess
his
so.
face.
That's nice. Get you a man who
his
can do
like
both.
face
Yeah.
hair
That's what they
combo
always
is
say.
not.
He's got
I'm
the
not
he's got the
digging
magic
it.
book on his hip too. He's
I
kind
don't
of
know.
ready to go.
This is a fave of mine, but I'm pretty biased. 'Cause I got
Make
to
sure I
work
hit
on
the
this
mic.
one. And there are a lot of really cool lore elements tied into this guy. The idea that he's using this armor to stop the corruption from the sword from spreading to the rest of his body.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of really cool stuff we came up with. And the effects, these are my first time seeing the effects on this, and they turned out really gorgeous.
It's a cool color scheme.
Yeah,
Yeah, it really
nice.
is. The runes on the ground as he's spinning. And the sword's still massive, but it feels like a little slightly bit smaller than some of his other things. And I think that the magic effects really do a great job of conveying that he still has the same hit area. It's just with a little bit of magical prowess.
Yeah, definitely want him to feel a little bit more agile.
It definitely
the armor's
looks
a
like
little sleeker,
Arthur.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it works
I'll give
really
you
well.
that. It
I
looks
like the way the
Arthur.
sword, it's charged state. Like the materials look really good on that as well.
Yeah. A lot of tweaking on that for sure, but I think we got it to a really good place.
Yeah, that Blade Storm effect is just awesome. So cool. King Arthur, definitely a god. When you get into that flow
we're
state,
getting all-
it's so fun to just go through the
Just
team
chilling.
fight. And I feel like this skin in particular is going to really lend itself to that same feeling. And then last but certainly not least,
oh my God, one
Toxic Current Yemoja, the newest skin for the newest god. That is dope.
She looks badass, dude.
That is so cool.
The whole team
Please look
wants
good
to
in
work
game.
on a
Please look
Yemoja
good in
skin.
game.
Everybody's
Please
like
look good
itching to
in
do it
game.
because
Don't
she's
be
such
lame,
a
don't be lame,
cool
don't be
goddess.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, really cool.
And plenty to do, I'm sure, with the bouncing of the water and that kind of stuff.
For sure, yeah.
The texturing of the alt. I'm a sucker for green. It's my favorite color. This definitely knocks it out of the park. Let's take a listen to the voice pack here for Toxic Current Yemoja.
One failed experiment, and here I am, cleaning up my messes. Might as well put my powers to good use. Did you hear that carbon and oxygen broke up? Turns out the relationship was toxic. You know, I could just melt that smile right off your face.
Huh. Yeah.
That's a good way to get my voice. I just have to get the face thing. that she has.
Work
into
for
a coffee
Bane.
cup.
Yeah. You know, work for Yemoja. A little bit of backstory lore, as
cool
I hope
auto
you all love
attack
it as much as I do.
animation.
In this version of Yemoja, she was a top scientist who was studying Meltdown
That's
Soul.
cool.
Soul escaped, and in the
Yeah,
process,
yeah.
infected/corrupted Yemoja. Truly.
That's about what I
unlucky
expected that bubble to
for her.
look like.
But you get this cool color scheme, and you get to use
Ooh.
toxicity all the time.
Yeah,
so.
this acid green color, really, really striking on this skin. And I love how the hair turned out so much, like tying that in.
Yeah, the hair looks amazing.
That's
Oh my
she actually has
God,
a
yeah.
lamp now.
Oh, hell yeah.
That is
so cool.
I put a lot of work into that,
All
and I'm
right,
very
that's
proud
cool.
of it.
that thing
No,
is
that is
really
so
good.
cool.
Yeah.
That is
All right.
that is way better than base. I'm gonna say it.
Thanks, I did both, but that's okay.
Really
It's,
cool.
you know, it's cool.
Hey man, we're just talking about Toxic Current Yemoja, and it's working for us for sure. The lights on the ramp too, like, letting you know this is the way we're going.
Yeah, that's nice.
That is excellent. I have been trolled an awful lot with that ability, and now I won't have an excuse.
It's the only reason I ever play Yemoja.
Let's
is
be
just
real.
to,
What does the ulti look
be that
like?
guy.
That's gonna
It is
sell
very
me.
funny and very worth it. And
How cool
also
does
a very
this
cool
ulti
ability
look?
that I'm glad it is the way it is. And
How do I
I'm not
feel
even
about
mad
a
every time I get trolled.
giant
I'm like, well, that's
wave of
Another thing to
acid?
point out is that the distance indicator on her 3 to show when it's going to send people back and when it's going to send them forward is now much more clear across the
it
skins
is.
as well. Base will have this orange coloring as well, so there should be no confusion.
excellent.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
You're speaking my language when it comes to FX targeters.
Yeah, I know you love them.
Yeah, I sure do. That's what I'm all about. That looks amazing. And then of
Oh,
course the
here we
ultimate.
go. Here we go.
That is so sick. The floor texture is just awesome.
I know there's like some bones floating around in that,
there
in that
is.
toxic sludge. All kinds of
Yeah, I
really
think I saw
fun
some
little-
signs in there.
all kinds of fun little Easter eggs in there.
I mean, you never know what's going to be inside toxic. Oh yeah, I see a sign over there.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like, you know, we.
I feel like her hair is a little more yellow than green.
And something insane.
Maybe
is gonna
that's
be in the
what's
skin.
throwing
I'm gonna
me.
be like, that is super
Maybe
cool.
her
and I have
effects are
no
really
idea
green
how
and
we're
her
ever gonna
hair
turn
was
that
kind
into
of yellow.
something. And then you guys like make toxic sludge waves and everything is perfect. And I don't know.
I feel like it
always
was
come away
cool, but I feel
impressed.
like something was
Thank
just
you guys very
slightly-
much, of course, for
Thank you.
joining us
Slightly
here.
throwing me
As
off.
I
I think
mentioned,
it was like
Heimdall,
the hair
right
type
on the
stuff.
other
That was just
side.
like a little
We'll be going over him very soon.
I sure hope there's nothing down here. And this scary volcano, no skeletons or anything. That'd be so scary. I want it on the record that I'm calling this guy Heimerdinger from League of Legends for the rest of my life. Just so everybody knows, from now until the future, I'm calling him Heimerdinger. I don't care. It's gonna be my pals Marlin and Heimerdinger. He also has a couple pretty new things, like a new type of movement ability and like 3 different sources of vision. Like 3 of his abilities give vision or something. And he has no attack speed buff or power buff in his kit at all. And apparently he has a completely unique auto attack chain that's AAB. And his B does something different, like extra single target damage or something.
Do you really think you can stop me?
Honestly, y'all would be a sick power couple. Y'all should they could hit it off, dude. Oh, and we can't hear
For
you.
Heimdall
There
to
we go.
join the realm of Smite. To go over it, we've got Pon, we've got Nick, lead gameplay programmer.
I don't know, man.
And of course, AJ.
I don't
with
know
the
who's
amateur
running
roster. We'll be
Olympus
glad to
and
see it
Smite lore right
survive
now, but
the
Persephone,
Viking invasion.
Heimerdinger combo, that could
safe and
give
sound.
whoever it is a run for their
It's
money.
got a lot of use at HRX too. Had to double wash it.
Of course, yeah. That's the way it's got to be. Guys, Heimdall, a god that has been asked for in Smite for a very, very long time. What made us feel like this is the right time to put him in, and what were some of the key things we wanted to hit with his lore?
I mean, I think the big thing here is he's just a character that's going to fill the role that we've been looking for. People have really been wanting a physical hunter, and he has a really unique hook that we can kind of like lay into to actually make him this unique hunter as a whole. His lore in general is there's not much actually known about him. He's kind of has very few text writing about him. The one passage that might tell you that he's a Vanir or an Asir is unclear. He might be part of Yggdrasil. He might be born from it. He might have a part buried underneath Yggdrasil. There's a lot unknown, but the things we do know is he has very good vision. He has very
I
good
know all
hearing.
about
He can,
that.
like, hear grass growing from 100 miles away. He hears all the conversations happening throughout the realms. And he's strong and vigilant. He watches over the Bifrost, and he's learned its secrets over the millennia that he's been watching it.
He's definitely the vigilant is definitely the right
Yes.
sort of. I mean, that's a lot of responsibility when you can hear every conversation happening. You've got to be able to pay attention, and certainly he's able to do that. I mean, I know people were
Just like Bruce Almighty.
surprised, but I think excited when it was revealed that he was a hunter. But
It's a burden.
The use of his legendary items is definitely a big key for us as well.
Yeah, these legendary items are very key to his lore. His sword is a named sword. The Gjallarhorn is the horn that's blown to actually signal the beginning of Ragnarok, the biggest event in kind of Norse mythology. And the Bifrost as a whole, there's a lot of unknowns about it. Its power, its reach, what it can and can't do. And so we were able to explore all that in his kit, which is really fun.
Absolutely. We do have the card art for you here as we get ready to go in-game very soon with Heimdall. This guy must have said something messed up.
Also, somebody's
and you already
breathing
know he
heavy
heard it,
into their mic.
you know?
You guys hear that?
He must have approached the Bifrost. Don't do that.
You cannot be doing that.
Don't do that.
He takes combat very seriously, but he's also like a very reliable ally. One of his
We got
key
a heavy
lore points, he's
breather
known
on
for
set.
having the best
Heavy
mead
breather.
in all of the Norse all the Norse gods, so people are happy to join him for a drink. and he would be kind to you. But when it comes time to fight, he's very serious. He's very dutiful. So if you try to cross that bridge without permission, you're going to get the axe.
Yeah, you think like Rainbow Bridge, nice and inviting. It's gonna be cool. You gotta make sure you got the right permits.
Yeah, that's the doorway to the gods. Like, you can't just waltz through there.
No, you sure cannot. We can, however.
Who's struggling on the set right now?
Heimdall's kit.
Who just came from their
with
workout?
Tom here, clumsy at the helm, I do believe. Let's just let him go kind of wild. And see what we got here.
Let's see what each of his abilities do.
I'm sure he's setting one up right here, right now.
Oh yeah, what's that? That's weird. Oh, okay. That's a sword. And eyes over there.
Okay.
Oh, hi sword.
Oh, this is very different looking from when I played it last. I'm also confused in a very good way. These abilities, their animations, oh my lord.
Goodbye.
Yeah, where'd he go?
Later, bro.
He's back. He's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about it. He just went through on a little trip. We'll talk about that later.
That was sick. The
home run!
I'm here for it, man. That was awesome. Okay, all right, we'll get to that in a little bit, as you mentioned. One of the big things before we even get into passive versus
the great Bambino finally coming to Smite.
Very differently than in Hunter we've done in the past. You want to start with those, Pon?
Yeah, exactly. So the big thing here for him is most hunters have a 1-1 chain, where basically if they have 1 attack speed, they'll fire a shot every second. It'll do 100% damage. Heimdallr has none of that. He has a hit chain of AAB, and the first 2 swings are at 1.3 speed, so they come out much slower, but they also hit at 130% of your basic attack power. The final one is an overhead hit, which does 150% damage at 1.5 speed. So you can see he's level 20. He's throwing these attacks out much slower than you'd expect a standard hunter to. Yeah. And the other thing you can notice is these first 2, the 130 ones or the 1.3 attack speed ones, they're cleaving. So you can see that Odin is being hit for about half, 33% of the damage total on those hits. Okay. So he has 2 cleaving attacks with these sidearm axe throws into a very heavy hitting single target attack.
So when we talk about low attack speed hunters, we think of.
I'm already getting jungle vibes from that.
Let's
move on forward, I guess.
Far below even Ho-Yi.
So his base stat is actually similar to other hunters in regards to the attack speed you have, but it takes 1.3 seconds to actually come out. So you have to do a little bit of math to figure out how fast they actually come out. But essentially, he's just attacking 30% slower on average, and his final attack is gonna be 50% slower than other hunters.
But he's hitting that. It's a 1-to-1 conversion of this much longer to this much more power.
Correct.
So attack speed is not generally the best word to use, but it's actually animation time.
Yes.
His abilities take longer animations on each throw, but their power scaling is higher. So yes, Heimdall is essentially like mini critting on every single throw.
So crit would be really good on him.
That is sweet. I'm here for it. Okay, let's start.
Because he already has higher base damage on his autos to scale off.
The Vigilant. Of course, with his eyesight being so good, that seems like a natural direction to go with the passive.
Correct. And so that's what we wanted to focus on. We want to, and you'll see this out the kit, we wanted to bring vision as a theme. It's not something you can build a whole kit around on its own, but it's a nice thing to actually kind of bring in as a whole. And so basically, whenever Heimdall has vision on anyone for any reason, if they leave that vision range, he just gets to continue seeing them for 4 seconds. So if they walk over a ward and they leave that ward range, he'll continue revealing them for 4 seconds to himself.
Strong.
He can continue to see that. And for everyone he has vision on, he gets additional physical power scaling, 3% per stack. So he wants vision on as many people as he can get, and that increases his power overall. And I know, Nick, we actually had to do a whole bunch of stuff to get vision working, because that's not something we ever really mess around with on vision loss.
Yeah, the trick here is.
I think it says critical strikes only deal 70% damage. I think they already nerfed my crit idea. I'm pretty sure that passive said crit
when he loses
does
his
70% crit damage on him.
Does he gain another stack? No, we have to really
in order to
code up
I'm like, dude, crit's he's gonna blow people out of the water.
Making sure that he pretty much has eyes on everybody on the map at all times.
Sure.
I mean, 15% is a lot of power, y'all. That's a lot of power for a passive, and lets you see people for an extra 4 seconds. That's a strong passive.
Now, he can't see everybody that well, but yeah, he can. He does get a bit of advantage, and we actually have that mixed into a couple different abilities here, a couple different various tweaks on the vision mechanic, because we know that was something that the community was expecting for this character. So you'll see that throughout the kit.
Sure. Also have a note here in the passive that he's got something special with critical strike.
Yeah, so this is kind of just the more balanced technical talk, is having 150% scaling attacks that can crit is just nuts and would break everything.
That's
and so we had a caveat where he actually only gets 70% bonus damage on critical strikes.
Okay.
The way the math kind of works out, essentially, crit is still very good on him. You can go crit build, it's still very successful. He actually does scale a bit in terms of like raw DPS potential with crit, a little bit higher than other hunters, but it's not as crazy as it could be, because again, critting on 150% scaling basic attack would just be a little bit like the damage would go above 1,000.
Especially you go throw a Deathbringer in there.
Yeah.
That would be really having a bad time.
Yeah, think like Naja last hit of attack chain crits, right?
Right.
We're talking 4 digits pretty easily. All right, we're going to go through the abilities now. We're going to start with, of course, number 1, which is Piercing Sight. I know I asked you how to pronounce this sword earlier, Pon, and I have completely forgotten. I'm going to go with Hofuth?
Yes.
Did I get it?
I mean, it's really technical to get it fully right. You're close enough.
All right, thank you. That's all I was looking for.
So this sword is the Sword of Heimdall, translates to the Head of Heimdall, and we wanted to bring a sword ability in the game that felt a bit unique, different than other sword abilities that we have. And for a Vision God, it feels like he could use his sword to actually augment his vision. So what he does is he takes the sword and throws it into the sky. And when it's thrown into the sky, you can see that whole circle is his reveal range. And he can actually, reveals to himself anyone caught in that range. And he can keep it up there for 10 seconds. You can see it's up there for a long time.
Yeah.
And then at any point after it's been thrown in the air, he can select a ground location, and you'll see it actually pivots and turns and comes crashing down onto that target location.
So is it these enemies would only be revealed to him, not his whole team?
Correct.
Okay.
So he sees them, and then obviously when the sword goes away, the passive triggers in, he gets to see for 4 more seconds. But yeah, this is his ability to, hey, maybe I go check Fire Giant, maybe instead of just walking and face checking it, I can throw the sword, get some vision ahead of time, and then plan accordingly if I want to bring the sword down on anyone, or just
definitely
leave it as different. A mini ward for 10 seconds, essentially.
Definitely a very strong ability in the higher levels of gameplay for sure.
Very
Excited to see the
different.
ramifications there. Now, if you eventually, will it just go wherever your targeter is whenever the time expires?
Nope, so it will fade. It'll just kind of blip out if you choose not to use it. But the thing here is that you can notice there's no other casting range indicator on this ability. So if you were to do something like maybe do what Clumsy did at the start, which was kind of warp to the middle of the lane, and you placed it in your base, it went as far as you could go. So as far as you can move in that 10-second period, you get to move around and place it wherever you want. So if you somehow get across the map, you can throw a sword from across the map, and it'll come zooming across, and you'll see everything.
I can hear the cogs turning in the guys who do those arena videos that they post to Reddit of like crazy one-shots that they do. I got a chance to meet one of them at Worlds. They're going to have some fun with this one, it seems like.
This character just has a lot of very interesting applications for his abilities. That's kind of the main goal of making this hunter that feels a little different here. So this ability is
definitely a lot of potential
honestly a lot of
vision.
its best applications. It's being used to scout Gold Fury, Fire Giant. It's being used to scout over walls and check things. It's also doubles as a ranged poke attack.
Sure.
But its shape and size doesn't allow it to easily clear wave. It's only going to hit about half the minions. And
not
honestly,
really
its
for minion
its damage
clear.
ramping.
I mean, he
is
has
a little
cleave
on the
autos.
low end for
I feel
maybe a
like he's
normal
going to be
hunter
fine on
ranged
minion
attack.
clear with
Yeah,
cleave
once he gets his scaling going, his passive going, it can hurt a lot, but other standard range poke that you have in lane is a little bit lower.
Sure, okay. Let's move on to another legendary item that Heimdall is known for, of course, the Gallarhorn. This we saw a little bit of whenever Clumsy was running through the kit. This was one of the abilities that I had the most fun using whenever I got a chance to play Heimdall a couple weeks ago. It feels right to be blowing this giant horn as Heimdall.
Yeah, it's the iconic weapon. It's the thing that blows to signal the start of Ragnarok. And so we want to make sure that we had that power behind it. So you can see it has like a really meaty sound effect to it. And basically anyone who's caught in that initial cone is so disoriented from the blast that their movement speed and attack speed are actually being reduced. And while he's channeling this, he has knockup immunity as well as some protections that he can actually get in forward because he wants to walk towards his enemy. He wants to be close to his enemy because when it finishes or when he cancels it on his own, he actually unleashes a final blow. He kind of has this rising note that happens and knocks people away. So you can slow people, get close into melee range, knock them up, follow up with other attacks, or if someone's just jumped on you, you can unleash a really quick blast to knock them away from you to get some extra safety.
Gotcha. Okay. So it's his main defensive tool.
Little defense,
but also can be used pretty offensively.
Yeah,
Also
so if you're in
probably
a little
good
team
for
fight and you're
catching
trying
up
to
to
chase
people.
someone, you can slow them down a little bit so you can get in range. If someone's jumped you can knock them back. If you want to play a more kind of warrior style where you go more forward, you can just use this as disruption. A lot of flexible applications here to this ability.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. I mean, you're hitting the majority of a team fight for sure with this ability. So an AoE slow, certainly not something that, I mean, Anher has been doing it for how long and has been very successful with it. All right, I think it's time we move on to the Bifrost, because this is one that I'm sure we're going to spend some time on.
What everyone's been waiting for.
Yeah, this is one of my personal favorites.
Distance scale,
definitely the one
85
that
feet
required
to
the most technical
700
work.
feet.
Yes.
Cooldown,
Yeah, maybe
20
besides the
seconds
ultimate.
to
Yeah,
210
we'll find out
seconds.
for now.
The ultimate probably took a bit more, but this one has a lot going to it. So the Bifrost. This ability has some interesting things going on. But first is you place a location on the map. So you'll place one fragment. Then when you place a second fragment, so one's already been placed on the map, but when you place a second one, you can see the colors changed. They become linked. And when this crystal is open, it's active. Heimdall can use it to teleport between the two locations. And when you walk into it, you'll see the crystal close around you and you'll go. Now, that's only the first part of it. Okay. The second part is this doesn't have a range limit. You can use this globally. But the way we balance this ability is the further away they are, when you use it, the longer it takes to close around Heimdall and the longer it goes on cooldown. At rank 1, if you use this to go from lane to base, it will actually be 210 seconds cooldown to use.
Which is basically a relic.
Correct.
Right.
Or if you use it as just a short hop in lane, more like a traditional movement ability, it's going to be more on a traditional movement cooldown. So you can see, because he's ranked it up, it's only 50 seconds here. But you can see the cooldown scales and how long it takes to actually travel and start traveling changes based on the distance.
All right.
So the cooldown was fun to write because the cooldown's listed as variable.
Oh boy. Yeah, I'm sure that was fun for the tooltip for sure. So not only does your time that you have to wait until the crystal's active, which you can see on the passive meter.
Correct.
But also the cooldown of the ability is longer.
So
based on how far you
So you can place fragments whenever you want.
There is no cooldown really on placing
I
the
understand.
fragments.
Yes.
It's all about the traveling. You can reposition.
I mean-
reposition them all you'd like.
Gotcha.
And that's what
It's
the
gonna
colors
be
are there to help
very,
you remember
very
which one you're
good
going to
for
position
farming.
next. It always alternates back and forth. It's more of a reminder to help you make sure you understand which one you're switching.
And you can see that's probably like one of the coolest
So,
tech
like,
things we've
so
done in
is
terms of the
Jing
material. Is
Wei's,
that
you know,
effect
passive,
was
opening up.
so-
Yeah, there's a lot that went into that, Nick.
There will be
the
some
technical
interesting
effects here,
gameplay elements
Andrew
though
might
to
really
like
killed it with like these rainbow effects. I
backdooring
really love this,
potentially.
like, rainbow haze around the crystals,
You know,
and this
stuff
warbling
like
effect before it
that.
explodes. Like it's also magical.
It's so good because when I play tested this, it was very, very early on, and it was just like Giannis portal that I was like, I don't know when I'm gonna be able to do this, and I don't
But
know how
it
you
doesn't
convey this to me
really
when
look
I'm
like it
actually
can
able
be
to do it, but
used
ju-
as an
perfect. I mean, it's so
escape skill,
clear
really.
on when I can use this and when I can't.
I mean, I guess
And
if
this
you
is
had
only for Heimdall, correct?
Correct.
I mean, if
Only
you had
Heimdall can take this.
If you,
Right, so no one
even
else
if you
has
already
permission
had
on the
one
Bifrost.
put down
Exactly.
and you put
Yeah,
down the
no one
second
else
one
can-
in front of
can-
you, it
even
looks
if
like
you're
it would still
God,
take a
you can
hot
decide.
minute.
So
to
this
go
ability
through
has
it.
a lot of
like
unique
standing
applications.
still.
Of course, you can kind of
which
use
you'd
it
probably
as
just
a Jingwei or a
die
Chernobog, return to lane, but that's going to have a really, really long cooldown if you do it. And if you do that, you're going to essentially prevent yourself from having an ability
Maybe not,
or
though.
having any sort of escape or mobility for a really long
Maybe
time.
not.
Sure.
Yeah.
In many cases, that can actually be a trap. In many cases, it can be strategically
It's
smart.
a trap.
You can also use it to rotate between lanes very quickly. So if you go and drop this in your mid lane, the opposing mid laner will have to be worried about the threat of
like
Heimdall
that.
at any moment
That's
just
the
showing
strat
up
I
Yeah,
like.
you
to
just put
fight
it on
you.
its tower line.
You just drop it there and they have to be afraid. But really, you get into a very interesting skill expression through this ability.
You
by
throw this in the
using
mid
it
lane.
in
You don't use it
combat
to
and
rotate
using it
back
in
to the
closer
lane.
ranges.
Use this to gank.
You know, it's a good way to use this ability is to actually drop it kind of closely.
I
near your tower
really,
line,
really
and then
like the
keep
idea
other
of him
one
as a jungler right now with this
unplaced.
kit.
Or you can have it placed
Vision,
someplace else, but be
this
ready to replace
movement.
it. So if you get jumped, you drop it
Little
on yourself,
knockback, little
step
slow.
into it, and port
I
yourself
kind
out
of like
really
the
quick.
idea of him
How
as a
long?
jungler.
Let's say I'm pushed to the enemy tower line and my
Like
portal
back
is
up,
next to my own.
go
tier
back
one
to
tower.
mid lane
So
and just
one
hit the
whole
hot
lane.
mid
Do a
gank.
lane
Lane. How long channel time do I have to stand in the portal?
I would guess, knowing the size of that, probably about 1.2 to 1.5 seconds of standing still in it. We actually had one playtest where Bacchus ulted me, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be out of here, no problem. And I had to let go of the keyboard because I was just flexing. And then I tremble walked out of it, and they killed me. I was like, oh no,
Yeah.
that actually took too long.
Knockups and trembles and pushes and pulls can pull him out of his teleport area, so they're a very good way. Knockups, God like Bacchus, great way to counter Heimdall, because when he's
trying to escape, you can belly flop him. It'll reset the timer.
Gotcha.
It knocks him out of the area.
Okay. If he's stunned, will he still go through?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's
He
also
has
really
a
fun at Heimdall to just
weird
stand in
kit.
your thing, just fighting and fighting to the death, hoping that someone is going to die or you'll be evacuated before
I'm gonna be
you
honest
die.
with you.
So
Depending on
you
how
can really,
crazy his
once you
cleave
get the
autos
hang
become
of the
for
cooldown and
clear,
get actually the ability to use this in combat, by the way, is very
currently with
difficult.
his kit,
it
he's
takes some
giving me
practice, and,
major
even after a
Yemoja
few
vibes,
playtests, I was
where
still
at a
little
high-end
rusty at
level,
it.
just like Yemoja,
But when you get the
he's
hang of it,
probably
you can
going
do
to be
some
really
cool
good with
things.
this
You're able
kit,
to
but he's
evacuate
probably going to get
Heimdall out
buffed
of combat
because
scenarios.
the majority of
If you
players
prepare
are
properly,
probably
you can
not
really
gonna
make some
utilize
really
him
cool
well.
power plays.
Just like
and then
Yemoja
kind
right
of
now.
rescue
I'm
yourself.
getting major
It feels like,
too hard for the average
with
player
it
vibe.
max rank, an 18-second cooldown to go as far as we're going is really not that different from traditional
Obviously,
dash.
we
It's
haven't
just
seen his
really,
ultimate
really,
yet, but
it's
so far.
really good. But in the early game, you have to be, I think, much more cognizant of where you're using
That
it.
short distance just there was 14 seconds, you know.
Yeah.
So it is. You can use it like that, but you can also use it in all these other ways.
Sure.
Yes.
And speaking of other ways, this ability has one more feature.
Yeah, we tripled down on the vigilance theme here, and the beam between the two fragments reveals enemies.
No
Acts
way.
as a tripwire.
And so it reveals enemies to Heimdall specifically for the brief time that they're crossing over it. But it
Does that trigger his passive as well?
Yes, it does.
So they get extended a little bit of vision
Yes.
too.
Dude, that is so cool.
So you can also use these more in the jungle along the duo lane to kind of keep your lane
Dude,
warded
put
as well as have
one-
a path for you to escape or
Put
aggress.
one at
so
your
there's a-
solo
this-
lane tier
this-
2 tower.
It's gonna be really interesting to
Put
see how
one
players
at
actually
their
use this,
duo
and, like, the
lane
amount of
tier
skill
1
progression of this
tower
ability is
and
so
have a
hard.
giant
to use
ward
ability. It's
across
really
the
hard.
entire
If there
map.
wasn't something really hard about it, you know? It just wouldn't fit.
I mean, the 1 and the 2, once you get
Just
the hang of,
cross
I mean, the 2
this
definitely takes
map
some trickiness
in
with
half.
planting the board in the right place and then leading people, because it's a bit of a slow warm-up on that
And then
damage.
you get vision on
The
him
real
for
key
4
with the 2
seconds.
is either finding people that perfect max range, if you're going to play him Hunter, and you can just poke people at max range and do a pretty good job harassing and damaging a lot of people. And you get the hang of that.
Sure.
But the 3 is going to take some galaxy brains out there to figure out exactly what's the best way to use it.
Oh, well, then all of Reddit should be fine. Time for the ultimate, everybody.
I'm sure everyone on Reddit will think that they'll be just using it back from base and that they've broken the character, and then they'll realize that they're down an ability for 250
Yeah, and then
seconds,
a jungler
and they just get
ganks them and
killed.
they're just done.
It is actively against your best interest to do that too often.
Do
but-
you, if I die while that is on cooldown, does it reset, or is it still...
It keeps ticking down.
Oh,
Okay, so it
yeah,
doesn't just reset
dude.
on death.
Throw
all right.
this
I
in
can't
the
believe
duo
we've gone this long
lane
without
from
going over
one
the
purple
ultimate, 'cause
buff
as
to
cool
the
as all
other
of this
purple
is,
buff.
I think the ultimate is probably the coolest
Giant
part.
tripwire, never get ganked
So,
again.
through the realms, this was actually the part of the kit we had to just get very early prototyping, get everyone on board, because this required the environment team, which we normally don't involve the environment team in like God design necessarily.
Yeah, that's who
because-
makes like maps.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
So this ability, you charge forward and you stun the first god that you hit. If you hit a god, they'll be stunned as well, and Heimdall will like wind up a really, really heavy accent and just launch them into the sky.
Right in
and you can
space.
see they've gone through a portal and they're not there anymore, and they're gonna come back and you can hit them. So you just remove them from the match, launch them in the sky, they go through a portal, and about 3 seconds later they're going to return on that ground
3
spot that's
seconds
marked
is
for
a
that blue
long
portal.
time.
But that's not all. Now, where do they go? They
that's
actually
a good
go.
Where do they go?
Yeah, they go to Muspelheim and Niflheim. So they actually are currently, while they're out of the map, they're being burned by the fires of Muspelheim and chilled by the cold
That's
winds of
not nice.
Niflheim. And they will experience that as a full 3D environment that they fly through.
That's not nice.
Okay.
So
Wait,
you can
is this
see.
environment new on this arena map, by the way?
No, this is the since the arena update earlier this year. It's been like this.
Oh, maybe I'm not running in this arena very much.
Yeah.
Yep, I think we're ready to show it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So hitting someone is fun, but getting hit is almost cooler.
Oh, no.
We broke it. How did you break it?
No, we broke it.
Okay. We expected this might happen with having too many Heimdalls and firing the ultimate many times in short succession. We might have to reload the map real quick.
Yes, we might
We'll
have
make
to
sure we
reload.
can see it.
Yeah, let's we can go ahead and do that. Bring it back to us real quick.
Classic.
So
We'll make
have
sure
that
we
all
get
ready
to
for
see
you.
that before
I
we
think
go.
You're gonna want to see
the
that.
That's a
easiest way to
classic.
do it because Clumsy's in the back doing it right now. If you just head to jungle practice and pick Heimdall, that should resolve the issue. You should be able to see it.
Okay.
Obviously, this has a lot of
Classic.
technical things going on.
Yes.
And PTS is also going to be a few issues that we're already aware of and working on fixing it. But we want to show you as much best as we can the full realized version of this ability.
I've been hit by this ult multiple times in full-scale Conquest
Yep.
playtests and haven't seen that specific visuals
Yeah,
there.
that issue
so.
is mostly tied to our dev procedures of using switch class.
Right.
So
Yes.
like changing
yeah.
characters.
That's
causes
probably
sense.
what happened.
Yeah,
so
because
that's probably what happened.
loading and unloading that environment as characters come in and out
Yes,
many people ask us all the time, why can't we just switch between gods like without leaving the lobby in jungle practice? That's why.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we'd have
Weird
to change our complete architecture to loading things. But this ultimate is really amazing. It's really
Yeah,
cool.
because
It's got a few
without
interesting
that, the
aspects
game
besides just
is
the visuals.
perfect.
As a kind
No
of banish
bugs
ultimate,
outside of
it
that
also has
potential.
a new piece of tech in that it semi-randomizes the re-entry location.
Yes.
So they do not return to the exact spot they were before. In the arena where it's a little bit open, you can track them down easier. In Conquest, they might appear around a corner or something like that.
As long as you take
kind
away
of more careful and more
Scylla
vigilant.
take Zonkui out of the game, don't allow
to
Persephone
find
to be
where
picked,
that character
it's
is
all
going to
gonna be
return
fine.
to make sure you can finish off the final damage if they don't die from the ultimate itself.
But there is a landing location targeter
correct
from the very beginning, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you just have to.
So you have
hunt that
time
down
to
a
go
little
find
bit.
that.
And it's always right in front of you, like within like a 60-degree angle, 75-degree angle.
Yeah, it's like I think it's 60-degree angle cone, about 60 feet
Okay.
in front of you. Anywhere in that range, they can fall. But if it happens to be over wall, they might be over wall. You might have to go hunt them down.
goodness.
Throw up your sword and start looking around.
Sure.
And when we were designing Heimdall, we were trying to think of the things that fit with him thematically. The vigilance, obviously, we used his artifacts, his Bifrost, his weapons and stuff, but also just the concept of the travel between the Norse realms and these 9 worlds of Norse mythology. It's just a really cool mythological story point, all of these different worlds and how they're interconnected in Norse mythology.
I said it.
And we've always wanted to do some sort of like banish you to the Shadow Realm, new environment type of thing for a god kit.
You've
So
activated my trap
we found out
god.
that this just fit really well on this god.
100%.
And now
Try
we
again.
can home run bat people out of the map.
Yeah, back to your regularly scheduled.
Let's see if we've got the proper.
Did we do it?
There we go.
There it is.
And you can see there's a lot of camera stuff going on there. It's panning. There's actually like an FOV effect that's happening there. There's just a lot of tech that went into making this look the way that it does and present the way that it does. And I mean, this took the whole team coming together to actually get this to work the way that it does.
Yeah,
and
we got a whole big piece of new technology here because we have this whole separate environment for Heimdall loaded in, and you know
that's gonna be. I'm letting you know right now. Killing people with that ability is gonna feel.
Yeah, you can home run bat hit.
like
After a successful hit, you can rotate it to the direction of your choice.
It's gonna feel good.
Yeah, you want to bat him in some direction.
To find that sweet
like
spot.
home running somebody out of the map.
I will say,
kills them
a lot of
is
times,
going to feel.
Those are the 360 no scope Heimdall alt.
We are sometimes, we get to come in and be like, you guys are like, hey, we're doing this god in the future. What should we do for the ultimate and that kind of stuff? I feel like every single time we're like, yo, we should get another cinematic alt in the game. We want more Naja alts, everything like that. And every time it's like, that'd be cool.
Oh,
if we
yeah,
could do it
he's
for every
definitely
god,
getting
but
a
it's so
baseball
difficult to execute properly and tech-wise. This is the perfect area, I think, to pull out the stops and really pull it out. And the execution looks just
One of
awesome.
my favorite bits of theming about that ability, too, is that you're traveling through these realms of fire and ice.
Yeah.
And so instead of just taking damage right up front, they apply like a fire burn and an ice slow to you. And actually, when you return to the map you were on, you're still burning and slowed from your trip.
Yeah.
So you actually have something, a little souvenir to take with you from Muspelheim and Niflheim.
Yeah, it takes a little bit.
Got
to
a
recover from
unique
that
kit.
kind of journey.
Absolutely,
Now,
no doubt.
Here's my high-level question that I don't even think I should be asking. When I ult them, can I then set up my attack chain to big auto them perfectly in that time?
So the play is probably to ult, throw your sword up, get to the final hit of the hit chain, throw the final hit of the hit chain so it's going to land right when they actually land, do the horn knockback into another basic attack into the sword crashing down. If you can get all that set up for free and no one's going to stop you, it's a lot of damage.
Yeah, you're gonna kill people for sure.
It's risky though, right? This is a forward charge, which is something along with his like slightly tankier stats.
Pretty cool.
And the idea that he might be
Can't
able
wait
to
to
flex
yeet
into more of a
Freya.
hybrid role.
You're like,
This
yeah,
ultimate
good up in
puts
the
him
air.
in
See how you
danger
like
when
it.
he wants to hit
Yes.
someone.
How you like it up
It's
there?
It's really good at picking someone, but it's risky. It can be beads during the warm up by enemies.
Very easily, I might
Right,
add.
there's a relatively long time there to beads it, yeah. And of course, though, it could also be used as an emergency escape for the character, which oftentimes you might see if Naja gets in trouble, they might use it in that way. It can be used in that way as well.
Yeah, I think that it's one of the larger windows for one of these. Kumbhakarna hits you instantly. Naja has a small window, but until he actually connects with that axe, you have all that time to beads. There is
camera
a
tricks
good
look
amount of
great.
damage up front, though, for just connecting, correct?
Yeah, so just connecting it does a lot of damage. We did that because we knew that we wanted to have a larger beads window because we were going to be banishing you for so long. And so it hits pretty
Definitely
hard
a long
up front.
banish.
But the follow-up damage when you do succeed is nothing to laugh at either.
Yeah, I think one of the things that stood out to me back then, you can correct me if it's changed since then, is that he's got pretty solid scaling on basically every ability. Maybe the 1 was a little bit lower, but the 2 had pretty high scaling, and the ultimate certainly did.
Yeah, so he has relatively high scaling. The 2 has it mostly because it's a channel. Channels tend to have higher scaling because you have to be, especially as a hunter, right? You're sacrificing basic
very
attacks.
interesting.
The 1 got a bit more scaling over development as a whole. He does work really well with power as well as that passive scales with it. He works well with a traditional hunter build, and we've also seen some experimentation with people flexing into more of like this kind of Bruiser Heimdall that tries to go in and be a bit more disruptive. And we'll see what people just choose to do with him.
Yeah,
I think
Bruiser
all
build
of them
seems
are pretty
really
functional. I personally prefer the more hunter method, just because I feel like having
It'll
those
just depend on his
meaty,
damage
It is
output.
so satisfying to be in lane and like land a super chunky third hit on the hunter when they trade.
There's definitely
and,
a lot of
you get hit for like 80
hypothetical things
damage
that
and then you
could
hit
be
them for
cool.
like 130 and they're just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
They
so
are chunky.
it feels so. He's very refreshing to play as a hunter. He does not feel like any other hunter, but you can tell he is
definitely
of the hunter
pretty
class, I think is
warrior-y.
the best way to
He's
put
a
it.
pretty warrior-y hunter.
We're going to try and do the voice pack, though I am told we might have an issue with that, but we'll dip our toe in the water and see if that works.
I do not hate you. It is simply my duty to stop you. We could be sharing tales over some warm mead. Such a waste of effort. Your
Womp,
heart,
womp, womp.
it beats with fear and cowardice.
Isn't that kind of messed up that he
feels
uses
best
the
long
horn that's
before
supposed to
my
signal
accents.
Ragnarok for a little bit of a joke? You know,
Let us
supposed to
race
be like,
side by
I think it's
they
one of our
said.
best taunt animations of
It
all
will be
time.
fun, they said. Well, no more. I still have to repair the pillar Ymir crashed into.
Yeah, Smite Cart was a lot.
I must always keep an ear listening for threats. It would be much easier if Thor didn't insist on eating a diet rich in beans. Attack! Attack, fire giant!
Fart jokes.
This god's, it's just the best. This god is just awesome.
Paul, you want to give us a little bit more background on that voice?
Yeah, so we actually had to iterate quite a bit because we wanted to try and get a more authentic kind of Norse accent, which is kind of difficult to represent. There's a lot of different variations on pop culture.
It's also ancient, so no one necessarily knows exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah, so you have to like kind of like dig into like a lot of like really like deep stuff to try and figure out how things are pronounced. And so we went back and forth a lot on that, but we tried to make sure that we were closer to authentic than we have been for traditionally other Norse characters. As well as just we wanted to make his personality kind of shine through on the voice pack, so you can see when he was joking around and when he was kind of like taunting. Some of them were like disappointed that like he's not being his jovial self. He didn't welcome someone as an ally, and instead now he has to face you as an enemy. But he's going to do it because if that's what the situation calls for, if he needs to take up his axe and wield it, he's going to do that.
Would
to
you
protect
start with the
Bifrost.
1 or 2?
But
Honestly,
if you change your mind and want some
probably
more
the
mead, he's all
2.
for that.
The voice sounds great.
I mean, it's going to depend on like the base damage on them, obviously. But
and actually, this will be a fun challenge
the
for you
one's not going to
casters.
hit the whole wave.
He pronounces
and
his
the
name
two
in the
will.
more correct manner,
Heimdallr.
which is something like Heimdallr. Whereas
Heimdall,
we've
got
just
it.
all been calling him Heimdall.
Yep.
So it can be your old Hebo Hobble.
Heimdallr?
Y'all can pick which ones you want. Some of you want to be a
Heimerdinger
little
it is.
correct.
Woo!
Some of you just want to pronounce it the easy way so people know who you're talking about.
I go back and forth, and I know that's the worst of all the
You
options.
have to pick one.
I know, I have to pick one.
Bifrost.
I'm pretty firmly in the Heimdall. I'm going to use the English pronunciation,
Agreed.
the modern English pronunciation of things. But we have a lot of people that really appreciate the correct pronunciation.
Yeah.
And this character is just filled with
We are
so
a
much character. I
strictly
mean,
correct
this is his recolor.
pronunciating
He is
channel.
described as the Shining One, which is why his
Only
base
the
is very
true,
white and very bright.
authentic
It's why when he fires his
names.
ultimate, he starts to glow
Heimerdinger.
like hot, bright white. And then for the recolor, we wanted to give a little bit more like modern, darker interpretation of him. And this just looks just straight up badass. Am I right?
Reminds me of the trailer for sure, where he's throwing the axe around and has that sort of trail to it, like we can see in this card art.
Yeah, he's got a
looks
weird
amazing.
kit.
I
So
do
it's
also wanna
really
give a
going to
shout
come
out
down
to
to like
the
the
effects artist who
damage
worked
numbers
on
and base
Heimdall.
stats and how he scales with like
he
crit
knows
and
a lot
stuff,
about Norse
so.
mythology. He's very into Norse mythology, and he actually took a lot of time in you can see like the targeter effects are very ornate and really like handcrafted. The runes on them are like accurate to like he actually tried to go out and research and find the accurate representation of various aspects that are being conveyed by the ability. And so you can see those runes around there. Those are more than just flavor.
They have meaning.
They have meaning.
I don't know what they all are, but he can tell you.
These mean something.
His
I swear.
runes he uses to
Trust
mark
us.
the
Don't
Bifrost
look
portals
it up.
are the first and last letter of the ancient runic alphabet. So it's like A to Z, traveling from A to Z.
Yeah, there's a lot of love in these effects.
Yeah, that's
and
what those
they came
mean.
out really, really well.
I just didn't want to get put
So
you
there's
guys
a
on the
lot.
spot.
This character is just filled with so much detail and theme into every ability and every animation. It's awesome. This is his mastery art.
Yep, this is the mastery
All
art
right.
for the gold skin, of course. I think that when there is a character that everyone has been requesting, like Heimdall, I imagine that you guys feel a little bit more pressure to do what the fans maybe not expect, but what they might want to be delivered. I feel like they should be blown away with Heimdall. He's so much fun to play, and just as complicated as every
I'll be
pawn
the
god
judge
needs
of
to be,
that.
you know.
Yeah,
By
you
that,
got
I
the
mean,
three in there.
Everybody
There is a good bit of
God will
pressure.
be.
We try really hard to meet expectations and then still find some way to surprise. Like we want to do both. I know like one of the most common community pitches was a guardian that makes more wards, and I was like, nah, we're gonna do something more than that.
But AJ, everyone loves warding.
I know, right?
They love it so much.
My Reddit pitch: ability 1, he makes a ward. Ability 2, he makes a different shaped ward.
A sentry
I
ward.
read so many of those, and I was like, we're gonna make vision a thing, but we're gonna do it in some more interesting
Yeah,
ways.
I
And I
think
feel
to be
really
fair,
good
a
about
guardian
where we
that has
ended
more
up. And
wards would be
combining
pretty
the hunter
good from,
aspect.
like,
I
a
just think this type of
mechanical
character fits
position
really well with
that
an
is
aggressive
don't
character
have
because it gets you really good balance. If you were just tanking and warding, that doesn't really. I mean, of course, you can be very impactful when tanking and warding, but a lot of our tanks, they do other stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So this character, I think, would have struggled in that regard.
right
So
now,
I'm
they
very
don't.
happy with the hunter decision, and I just think he's going to be really fun.
It's going to be great, man. I can't wait for you guys to get your hands on Heimdall. Of course, if you want to know more about the PTS and all that kind of stuff, Smite Game on Twitter is the best place for that information.
Should be up soon.
Yeah.
Should be up this afternoon.
Yeah, we were trying to because of Thanksgiving. That's why it's a day early here, and we also wanted people to play on BTS before Thanksgiving, so we
But-
have times to get information.
It's always possible on PTS. It might be a day.
Yeah, you never really know. We want to make sure that you can talk about Heimdall around the dinner table for Thanksgiving. You know, the typical family conversations that everyone has. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great
thank you,
Thanksgiving
Aggro.
at home.
Hope
Make sure
you
you eat
have a
lots of
great
turkey and mashed
Thanksgiving.
potatoes. And we'll see you
Yeah.
next time here on the Update Show.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, New God's different. Looks pretty cool. Far as balance goes, basically Yemoja and Camazot. Little nerf buffy buffs there around, but like basically Yemoja and Camazot is the only two that I see a significant gameplay change for. Thank you.